welcome to this week's episode of the Dirt Subies podcast. Got an absolutely wonderful episode for you guys, and I really couldn't be happier about this. This is going to be a good one. Got my buddy, Raph, the host and creator of the Subie and You podcast, which you guys hear me every week recommending that you guys check out his episodes because he's got a massive catalog. But I had him on the podcast to sort of talk about his car, just talk about life, talk about his current situation, and kind of the history of the podcast a little bit. I really enjoyed this because despite what some people might think, this dude was one of my biggest supporters when I decided to come out of my comfort zone and my shell and start doing this. And so this was a huge honor. I just couldn't be any happier to do this. We got into some really cool stuff. I think you guys will love it. But before we get into that, I got some quick messages to talk to you guys about. So those of you that are huge on the light bars before lockers movement, you guys need to make sure that your battery situation is on point. I've been running full throttle batteries paired with Melee Design Firm battery boxes and tie downs for probably about 5 years now. And they are now a proud sponsor of the Dirt Subies podcast. And I got to give them a massive shout out for all their support. And the way that they are doing that is by giving you guys a discount code that you can use for pretty much anything in their online store. Just go to meleedesignfirm.com, use code DIRTSUBIES at checkout. That will get you 10% off. And I know a lot of you fumbled your bag during Black Friday. This is a way for you to still save a little bit of money. And that literally goes for batteries, battery tie downs, battery boxes, strut tower braces, engine bay caps. They sell a lot of really well-crafted parts for Subarus, and I would recommend checking it out even if you just want to spruce up your engine bay. Okay, next up, again, if you fumbled the Black Friday sales that just ended, you can still save a little bit of money with my buddy Patrick Anderson over at ADF, Anderson Design and Fabrication. If you need a lift kit, ditch light brackets, skid plates. I know a bunch of you need skid plates because you guys are bouncing off rocks. Use code DIRTSUBIES at checkout. Their website is awdadventure.com. That will give you 5% off. As far as I know, it's the only discount available for Anderson Design and Fabrication. Patrick does not need to offer a discount on his products at all. They sell so many lift kits. They are top tier in the industry, but he's doing this as a favor to me and as a thank you to you guys. So go ahead, use that code if you want 5% off and enjoy your new lift kit. Now, if you guys will do me a quick favor, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, whether you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, whatever, could you subscribe and then leave a comment? Let me know what you're driving. I want to know what kind of car you're driving, and let me know what kind of mod you're driving. And that would actually make my day. So let's jump into this bad boy. Well, gosh dang it, dude. We're live, man. We're here with the one and only Raph Diggity Dog.
Ah, man.
Man, thanks for being on here, dude. It's an absolute honor. So
of course.
Appreciate you.
I am Raphael, the host of the Subie and You podcast. And as far as what I do, I guess I help the community get connected through the podcast, sharing people's stories, and for people, a place for people to share their stories and a place for people to listen, and gotten some brands on to share their stories as well. And as of right now, as this recording, that's about all I do because I don't have a job.
Man, I've been there, dude. I've been there. I was pretty bummed for you when I saw you posted that, and actually you texted me. We were texting before you even made that post. But
yeah.
Well, before we get into anything else, man, let's talk about that a little bit. What was that kind of just that day like? Can you sort of walk us through kind of what? I mean, obviously that's a horrible feeling, but how did that day turn out for you?
I actually got to work early that day.
So
I got to work. Yeah, I got to work like maybe like, I don't know, it was about 7:48 or something, maybe 7:45. And I usually try to show up at 8 or a little after. And I know that the guys that own it, it's a civil engineer and architectural, and an architect. They meet with this guy in the morning to go over some projects. And he was there early too, which was odd. But anyway, so I get there and I figured, they're just having their meeting with him. And then the, and then I was like working and I noticed they were in there longer than usual. And that guy was out that they meet with. And I don't remember what time it was, but I get a Teams message from like the HR person and she was like, "Hey, can you come down to the small conference room?" And I'm like, "Oh crap." And so I go down there, walk into the room, and they're just sitting there with like blank face, blank stares on their faces. So I sit down and she was like, "Oh, you're early. You got here early, the first of the three." And I was like, "Oh." So I'm like, now I'm thinking like, I mean, I guess this is going through my head. It's kind of all a blur now, but these two other guys walk through the door and they sit down. They're like, "Oh, hey, what's going on?" And this one guy was like, "Well, there's really no good way to put this, so I'm just going to be blunt, but, we failed you guys and all this other stuff." And they were basically saying, "We got to let you go."
Just a kick in the balls, you know? Like,
Yeah,
what
because
am I supposed to do now, you
yeah, it
know?
was very unexpected.
Mhm.
And I mean, I think a lot of people know that I was wanting to get out of that job because it was very stressful. I was dealing with stress and anxiety every single day, which I've never dealt with that, not like that with a job to where it was
Okay.
every single day, and being micromanaged, which made the
Oh,
stress and anxiety even worse. So in a way, it was like, a blessing, but then still, it's like now I don't have a job and I don't have something lined up already. So I've been door
yeah.
dashing.
Hey, there and you get to spend more time in the track, brother.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you go from making like a certain amount per hour, and then you're making that much per day, or
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
crazy.
Well, and what, I know you and I have talked a little bit about kinda your professional life, privately, but what exactly were you doing?
I was a project manager for a small architectural and engineering firm, and I got pulled into that role. And I think that, like, I think I was doing a good job. It could have been better if I would have had support, though, because there was, like, a huge lack of communication. There was, like, no support, no structure, no organization. I mean, I was constantly complaining to the friend that I had that left there, just telling her, like, "Man, it's still bad here."
And we can talk a little bit about this, but man, sometimes the way life works out, we kinda get what we need by force, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and the thing was too is, like, I was like, "Okay, if I can just suffer through this and hang out through the end of the year, I could potentially go back to my old job because they can't hire right now, but they might be able to hire at the end of the year, beginning of next year, but there's still no guarantee because they're
Okay.
kinda slow too."
Yeah. And how long had you been with this company specifically?
It would have been 3 years at the end of November. So
Okay.
I started I guess, the Tuesday after Thanksgiving, the week of Thanksgiving in 2022.
Okay. Okay. So
Yeah.
you would have already been there when we first connected and started talking.
Yeah, and, I mean, getting pulled into that project management role, it's stressful, man. I didn't and it would have been better still if I would have had more support, but there's just, like, such a huge lack of support there, and that was the biggest problem.
The job that I have currently is just, I don't think I could have come up with a better, you know, group of people to work for. It's that micromanaging thing that you mentioned, that's so far off my radar now. They're just like, well, we just need these outcomes and you just do whatever you need to do. I'm like, all
Yeah.
right, perfect.
Yeah, there's a lot of things with my old job that I look back now that I complained about that I'm like,
Hmm.
that was like shouldn't have been complaining about it because there's so much about my old job that I really appreciate now that I kind of realized that I took a little bit for granted.
Yeah,
And, because it's just that's why, if I'm able to go back, it won't be so bad, but
yeah.
still not really what I want to do.
When it was fresh, when you're kind of going through that, the however many steps there are of grief, because you're losing something that's a big part of your job.
Oh,
or in
yeah.
your life, you know? What's kind of that process looked like, you know, over the last, what, week and a half, 2 weeks?
Yeah, week and a half today.
Okay. Yeah, how are you feeling now? What's sort of been the mental process for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's been up and down because, like, when it first happened, of course, I was in shock and thinking, like, "What am I gonna do now?" But I wanna go back up a little bit because my friend that had left and went back to our old job, I was telling her, "I don't wanna quit because I don't have anything else lined up. But if I get laid off for some reason or I get fired, I'm not overly concerned with it because I know that things will work out. I know I'll figure it out." And that's kinda where I'm at now is trying to figure it out.
So if you could just snap your fingers, perfect job and situation, what would that look like? Is there another career field you want to go into? Or, you know, are you thinking maybe trying to take the podcast to a full-time level?
I mean, ideally, it would be nice to take the podcast full time, but, it's really difficult not I mean, I could just do it full time, but I wouldn't I wouldn't be able to pay my
Yeah.
bills.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but ideally, like, I would love to be able to do the podcast, and then I'm getting myself set up to do voiceover. I've gotten Reaper pretty much set up where I need it to be. I just need somebody to help me go through it and make sure it's all good.
Let's go.
There's other things I've thought about too, but ideally, I mean, I think it would be a lot of fun to do voiceover, and I think it'd be fun to do characters if I could get into that. Just
That
do,
would be
like,
sick.
wacky character voices and stuff. I just think that would be a lot of fun.
That's like you know, you grow up like watching, you know, The Simpsons or whatever, and then you get older and you see what the people look like that do the voices. You're like, whoa, like it
Yeah,
was a
as a
girl
woman.
doing Bart. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man. Can you kind of talk about the voiceover thing a little bit? Have you done any work yet in that field?
Yeah, so I took some courses. I took one course from this guy, he goes by the voiceover beard, and it was a lot of money for not very much return. So I've,
Oh
like, learned
no.
some lessons along the way, and then there was another guy's courses that I took, and that was kind of, a lot of money too, and I just because I didn't know, and and then I was looking at doing, like, potentially kind of like, more like not like, audiobooks or ads or anything, like, more like technical manuals or, like welcome videos, that kinda stuff. Something that
Okay.
doesn't require, like, quote, unquote, like, acting for it, but
Yeah.
just kind of more neutral. And
Hmm.
so I think I looked up, like, technical voiceover or something like that, and I came across this woman's her YouTube channel, and she goes by Voiceover Angela. So I found her YouTube channel, and then I started looking more into it, and then she has, like, this you can join her platinum group, and they have a Discord channel, and people are in there all the time. There's, like, a lot of great support, and so I've grown a lot in that, and it's only, like, $20 a month. And
Oh,
so
that's what's up.
yeah, well, that's, like, grandfathered in now. I think it's more than that
Okay.
because she switched platforms too, but I haven't really done a whole lot with it just because working full time, doing the podcast, being a dad,
Yeah.
and just other life stuff, it wasn't a priority, but now I'm digging into it a little bit more. So I did do something for Melee Design Firm,
I remember
and
that.
yeah, I did a
Yeah,
big
Mitch
did
was stoked on that. He messaged
yeah.
me, he's like, "We're gonna get Raph to do this." I was like, "That's rad."
Yeah. So I was super excited about that and extremely thankful to Mitch because I had reached out to him a long time ago and said, "Hey, I'm, pursuing voiceover. If you happen to have any voiceover needs, let me know." And he came to me and said, "Hey, I want you to do this." So I think I did like 4 or 6 videos for them or something, and now it's
Okay.
on a website. I can't remember which website it is, but it's like a pretty big website. So I
Okay.
did that, and then this guy named Jan Lim, he was, on one of my episodes. I can't remember which one it was, but he did a documentary called Between the Lines, and his wife had it was a little grocery store or no, restaurant called Manila Food Mart, or I think it's like grocery store/restaurant, and I did a voiceover read for him, but they ended up going with his wife's niece, and they used a woman's voice, but he let me keep the file so that I could use it as like part of my portfolio.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like a Filipino, thing?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome. You ever been to the
yeah.
Philippines?
I have not. I've never been out of the US.
Oh,
I don't
really?
have a
Okay.
passport. Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, at some point, I used to have a professor in college. He would always use this phrase. He'd say, "Before you're another day older, you need to check you need to check out this, you need to check out that." And he would also say, "Before you die, you have to check this out or check that out. Before we die, we gotta go back to the Philippines, man. It is the jam, dude. Good people, good food, beautiful
Oh, it's good.
views, awesome beaches."
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I have checked one thing off my bucket list. I went snowboarding with my son last, spring break,
Okay, you
so that
break
was
anything?
fun. No, no, I'm pretty sure I bruised my tailbone falling down a lot, and I did jack up my shoulder some from falling and, bracing myself,
Yeah,
but, it was worth it. It was the first time I'd ever been and first time my son had ever been, and so that was a lot of fun.
that is what decade of life are you in? I'm not gonna ask your age, but
I'm not afraid to say my age. I'm
how old are
52.
52, there you go. There
Yeah.
you go, man. I have to say, I learned how to snowboard in my early 20s. It's not for the faint of heart. The first 2 to 3 times you go up, your tailbone is gonna be so pissed at you. I started
Yeah.
using, ice skating pads. Like,
Oh, yeah.
dude, I don't know, they make them out of something called, like, I think it's MCL rubber or something. It's this high density foam, and,
Put it in
yeah,
your
we used to
pants.
ride the park a lot. I've definitely taken some for the team, lost a lot of dignity. Um, the so the podcast, what kinda got you into the podcast? That whole thing. You're one of the first people that has, like, taken the Subaru community and put it in podcast form in any sort of meaningful way.
So I bought my Crosstrek in September of 2020, and I knew that people had accounts for their cars because I was already following a few people with my personal account.
Okay.
So I bought my Crosstrek, and I was thinking maybe I should start an account for my car. And I don't remember like how soon after I bought my car that I started an account, but I think it was like maybe just a few days or a week. And so started the account, started connecting with more people because I had, a Subaru now and I wasn't using my personal account. Start connecting with all these people and started seeing like everybody posting photos and talking about places that they went. And then there were some people that were listing like all of their mods. And so I was thinking, like, I wonder if people would be interested in talking about this because at the time people weren't doing reels and like I think maybe very few videos. So I was like, there's got to be a way for people to share more of their Subaru experience. And so that was like where the idea came from of giving people a place to share more than what you could, share on Instagram. Like you've just got some photos and some captions, but there's more to this than that, obviously, And so,
Yeah.
and I had already done a podcast before. And so I already had all the equipment. So I was just ready to go. It was just a matter of finding guests and, hoping that people would actually like the idea. And I think maybe they did since we're here for over 4.5 years later.
Yeah. You're in the 300s, right? 300?
No, I'm still in the 200s. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll be working. I don't know when this episode is going to come out, but I am working on episode 214.
Okay, okay. What are the statistics about, podcasts? It's like 87% of podcasts or something never make it past episode 5 or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. So I think it's like somewhere around 18% of podcasts make it past like episode 20, and then the percentage drops further the more
Yeah.
episodes you go.
Yeah, that's impressive. Yeah, I that's like one of my things, at the beginning of each of my episodes, I always tell people like, "Yo, there's a massive catalog over here on the Subie and You podcast. Like, you can go
Yeah,
binge and, you know, get to it. You got a lot of listening to do."
and I really, really appreciate that.
Oh,
So
dude, well,
I've been
it
doing the
means,
same.
so I've been doing the website since like 2019, and part of what I would do for content on the website is I would talk to people about their builds and get, photos and kind of get their story. But just Google has changed a lot. The way that people find content is way different now.
Yeah.
And it was maybe like a year ago or 6 months ago, maybe, is when it really started to feel like, oh man, I really want to do a podcast. But I was hesitant like for a long time, because I was like, man, I really don't want to, like, I don't want anybody to feel like I'm encroaching on the Subie and You podcast or anything. And uh, we had a conversation about it, and just so everybody knows, you were like one of the most supportive people when I brought it up, because I just figured like there's no way he's not going to see that I'm doing this and yada yada. So I appreciate all the love and support, man. It means a
Oh
lot.
yeah, of course. And I mean, your podcast is really good because you get into more of the technical aspect of what we do with these cars, and your guests provide a lot of really great information. And mine's more has been more like on the just kind of story and, behind the brand or behind the person and the car and what they're doing as far as like places they're going. Because I don't know a lot of the technical stuff, so I don't really know what to ask. And some people will start getting into technical stuff and say some things, and I'm like, I'm sure that means something, because I
Yeah.
don't I don't know a whole lot and I haven't done a whole lot, but I'm okay with that too.
And I think the way that you interview people, it's like 180 degrees different from the way I do it. And you do such a much better job of drawing, just information out of people, like you said, about kind of the story and that type of thing. And so I appreciate it, that it's like a different style of interviewing, and different type of information comes out of people when they sit down with you. So
Yeah,
I'm
I mean,
stoked.
they're both good, I mean, it's good information for different reasons, and there's nothing wrong with having more content, and I was glad to see that you were doing it and, excited, and then there were times when I'm like, "Man, there's another podcast now. I'm not the only one anymore."
Oh no.
But no, it's great, like, totally fully supportive, and then it was great meeting you in person, which, brought that
Yeah.
even more full circle, so
Yeah.
that was super cool, even though it was brief, but,
Yeah.
it was I was so thankful to make it out to all the, or 4 of the 5 Overland Expos because then I got a chance to meet so many people, and you were one of them, and that was great.
Yeah. It was so funny. So I think I've told this story. I've probably told you, but Brandon, Starscream,
Yeah.
he had some like top shelf whiskey or whatever at the camp. And so, and I don't really drink a lot. Like if I drink, it's usually at home. But he had some whiskey, and I was just smashing whiskey throughout the afternoon. Like, oh, no problem. Like, because I've to this day, I'm on the bad side of 30, and, and never drank a drop of alcohol until I was like 30.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, man, it takes a
That's good.
lot. Yeah, yeah. You could just get into a lot of trouble if you're not careful with that stuff. But it takes a lot for me to feel anything from alcohol. But yeah, so I was drinking all that whiskey. Literally didn't feel a single thing. And then Patrick was like, "Oh, you want one of these I think it's like the Alp brand, like nicotine pouches." And I was like,
Oh
"Oh
my
yeah."
gosh.
He gave me a nicotine pouch, and all of a sudden I was like, "Oh frick." So I'm like stumbling around the Subaru, little promenade that they had, like, "Oh gosh, I hope nobody realizes that I look like an idiot." Pretty funny. But yeah, no, man, it was an absolute blast to meet you. And yeah, I feel like it's been a long time in the making. So
Yeah, and I was thinking earlier because you mentioned that you had the website, and I remember you reached out to me a long time ago, and I don't even remember when it was, but you're like, "Oh, I would love to feature your build," and I'm like, "But I don't have a lift, and your website says lifted imports, and I'm not lifted," and you're like, "That's okay, it doesn't matter, we'll still feature you." So I
yeah,
was like, "Okay, that's cool." I mean,
it's
is anybody even gonna like my car because it's not lifted, you know?
hey man, it's got bigger tires on it, and it has seen mud and dirt. So that's all
Oh,
that
plenty.
matters.
So much mud, I ripped up and tore up my viscous coupling.
I was actually going to ask you about that. Let me change gears and ask you
Yeah,
about
I
that.
change gears every day.
6-speed manual bit.
Yeah.
So can you kinda talk a little bit about, some of the symptoms you were experiencing in the car and all the process you went through before you realized that it was a center diff that was giving you problems?
Yeah, so I remember exactly where I was when I first noticed the noise because my son was taking photography classes in school and he had to do like some sort of a theme. And around Houston, I mean, there's other places too, but they had like these electrical boxes at intersections that were painted. And so he
Okay.
had to have 10 photos of the same type of similar type of thing. So he's like, I want to go around and take photos of these electrical boxes that are painted. So we were hunting for those and we found one. And then we were turning around in this parking lot and it was getting dark. And we were going to park so that we could go walk over to this one. And as I'm turning, I hear this clink, 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 clink. And I was like, what the heck is that? And we had a long drive home too. And so but it only did it when I was turning. I noticed it didn't do it while I was driving. But I was like, "That's weird, it's never done that before." And so I just started noticing it more and more, but it would only do it whenever I was like, it wouldn't do it when I first started my car. If my car had been sitting for a few hours or sitting overnight and I would turn my car on and I would drive and turn slow, it wouldn't do it. It was only after I'd been driving it for like 30 minutes or something in a car, and the components were warmed up. That's when I would notice it because I would like, when I was going into work, I would have to weave my way over to my parking spot because there was like all these parking islands and stuff and the way that I would get over there. Most of the way that I was going to work was straight. And then I would get to the parking lot and that's when I was driving slow, going through these little windy turns to get to my parking spot. And it was like clank, 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 clank as I was turning, going slow. And I'm like, what is going on? I started messaging people that I know have changed a lot of axles, like Milton and Carrie, and I think I even messaged Anthony, who goes by Judy the Subie, and maybe some other people. But I just said, what does it mean when you're driving slow and turning and you hear clicking noises? And everybody said, oh, your CV axles are going out. But I don't know what that's really sounds like because
Yeah.
I've never heard anybody CV axles before. So by my description, they're thinking, oh, it's your CV axle. Apparently, you're not supposed to feel it because mine was kind of like I could feel it kind of just moving just slightly as I was turning. I ended up messaging this other guy who knows a lot about transmissions, and he said, oh, well, actually, first I took it to my shop here in Houston. And they drove it around a little bit because it was warmed up by the time I got to their shop. And they were like, oh, it's your center diff and you're gonna have to replace the transmission. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, the whole transmission?"
That's
And so that
crazy.
yeah, so, like, "You're gonna have to find a new transmission." So then I messaged this guy that knows a lot about transmission. I was like, "Hey, they said it's my center diff, this is what's going on." I sent him a video of it, and he was like, "Oh, it's your viscous coupling." He sent me a video of an Outback that he had, and his was doing the same thing. And so he was like, "No, you don't need a whole new transmission. All they have to do, just buy a new go on, like, to online, some Subaru online parts store." And I think he sent me a link to one of them. And, he's like, "Just buy the viscous coupling, then this is what you have to do to replace it." So that's all they should have to do. You don't need to replace the whole transmission. So I messaged the shop back and I was like, "Hey, this is what it is. This is what I need to have done." They're like, "Oh, yeah, that's what we told you." And I'm like, "Well, but"
That's
So,
kinda
they
what you
did say
told
it
me.
was a center diff, but they also said I needed a whole transmission. Then when I finally got my viscous coupling in, I posted a picture of it and in my stories, and I said, "Oh, yay, I finally found the missing piece to my time machine." And so, Paolo, who goes by Rally Trek, he messaged me and he said, "Oh, you blew up your viscous coupling too?" And I'm like, "I guess so." But and I found out that it had to have been from driving through mud very aggressively every time it gets really muddy. And so just, you know, time after time after time of driving through the mud and just slamming the accelerator down and turning, just because I would usually turn maybe not full lock, but I would turn pretty close to it because I'm like, I want to sling up some mud so that it'll flap on top of my car because I want it to look cool with mud all over it. And so wanting my car to look cool is what tore up my viscous coupling. So, there's a lesson to be learned there, I guess.
Well, it can happen even to daily drivers. It's funny that we're talking about this because my wife, she's got actually, she's probably going to yell at me from the other room, but it's a 2012 Outback. It's got the same transmission, well, almost the same transmission as you have, same exact thing. And you're exactly right, man. You feel it because
Yeah, it
it,
moves a little bit.
yeah, it's not just like a clicking. It's like, I think what's happening is it's binding up. It's
Yeah,
binding up, and
something's happening.
yeah, you feel it come up through the transmission into the
Yep.
cab a little bit. So,
Yeah.
note to anybody that thinks they got a bad CV axle, if you can feel it, like if it feels more like a thunk or a thud than it does just a like light click, center diff time.
Yeah. Get that checked out. By
Yeah.
the way, congrats.
Oh,
How is
thanks.
it that how is it now saying my wife?
Dude, it's crazy. It's crazy, but yeah, I found a good one, dude. Like I married up substantially. She's way more attractive than me, and she's like she's younger than me, more attractive, and has like the best heart of anybody I've ever met. So I'm pretty
She'll keep you
stoked.
straight then.
Yeah, 100%, dude.
Ah, that's good. That's awesome, man. I'm happy
Yeah,
for you.
man.
It's so
Oh,
cool.
thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, that
So
was
how long has it been now?
2 weeks, two
2
weeks and
weeks? Okay.
like 4 days.
Yeah. Don't let anybody ask you, "Oh, what's married life like?" Dude, it's been 2 weeks, man. How am I
Yeah.
supposed to know? Give me like 2 years and ask me.
Is there any chance that this career change is gonna um, result in you being able to be closer to your lady?
I mean, at some point, yeah. I mean, that's the plan because I like I'm ready to move up there, as far as like just being with her and everything. But
Yeah.
with my son being in school and trying to figure out what he wants to do, I don't want to just be like, "All
See
right,
ya.
see ya." Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I want him to try to kind of figure out where he's going to be, and I want to help guide him. And not that I can't, give him guidance from elsewhere, but I also have like a lease that I need to, ride out until
Oh,
that's
yeah.
done. So yeah, there's some planning stuff is gonna have to start coming up soon to figure that out. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, if I can go back to my old job and I can do that, then they do that primarily remotely, except they have to go in 1 day to the
Okay.
office, and there's an office in Dallas, so that
Okay.
that works out well.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. I couldn't remember if she lived in the Dallas area, but is
Yeah, she does.
if you find yourself up there, or is it up or down from where you're at? I don't even
It's
know.
up. Yeah,
Okay.
it's up. Dallas is like almost straight north from where I am.
Perfect. Would you be any closer to any elevation change up there where
I mean, it's still Texas, so, still private land. However,
oh, that's true.
there is an off-road park that is probably like 30 minutes from her house that we have actually been to before.
Okay.
Her and her daughter went out there, and it's a pretty decent park. So
Okay.
that would be like my best option for going off-roading up there. And
OHV parks are fun.
yeah. So, I mean, you have to pay for it, but, it could be like maybe a once a month thing or something, or once
Yeah.
every couple of months. More than what
Yeah.
I do now.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I live way out in East Oregon. So I live about 2.5, 3 hours from the area where you and I met up at. I live like northeast of there. And it's pretty barren out here. You gotta drive a minimum of like 2 hours to really get
Oh,
in the woods, which
yeah.
2 hours isn't too bad, but I
But
got
it's not
spoiled.
convenient.
Yeah, yeah. In the area I grew up, it was like get in the car, drive 30 minutes, and I'm at some of like the best, like most rad world class off-roading and like forestry type areas, just the best forest in the United States.
Yeah, Oregon's
So
beautiful.
yeah, yeah. And it's so easy, to I tried not to take it for granted while I lived there, but being away from it has kind of fostered like an absolutely new appreciation for that type of topography, I guess you could call it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when we went out there, we stayed in Sisters, Oregon,
Mm,
at the recommendation of Derek. Thanks, Derek.
yeah,
And,
shout out Derek.
yeah. And so, like, between him and PNW Crosstrek, Aaron. That's because it's Aaron and now I can't remember his wife's name, but anyway, so I was talking to Aaron, and so between him and Derek, they were giving me recommendations of places that we could go see, and so my thing was like I didn't want to go anywhere that was like maybe further than an hour and a half away because I didn't want to spend most of the day driving, even though I'm
Yeah,
sure like driving we would have seen some beautiful scenery.
yeah,
But I wanted to have more time exploring wherever it was that we were going, so less drive time was better.
yeah. Being able to be right in it, like
Oh, yeah,
surrounded by the good stuff. That's where it's at, man.
and then we got to drive Frankie and have some fun with Frankie. Thank you, Milton and Carrie. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
What was the experience like getting to be behind the wheel of that thing for a couple days?
Dude, it was so bouncy. It was so because they, like, jacked up the suspension, he was telling me, so he said that the ride wasn't as smooth, on road, and, because like, we got in it, and I started driving it first, and, and then you had to figure out the harness because it's like a racing harness that you pull over both your shoulders, and you clip at the top, and you clip
Yeah.
in the bottom, and so trying to get that adjusted just right, and then, it's not like a regular seatbelt where you can kinda move forward with it. It's like once it's locked in place, it's locked in, so, you're used to being able to move in your car, and we'd be like, oh, crap, we can't move." So then, like, trying to, like, turn to look behind you when you're turning around was, like, just trying to move your head and not your body because you can't move, yeah, just driving it was a lot of fun, though, because it was, faster than my Crosstrek, and it was interesting because I don't think the heat was working, and it was kinda chilly that night, and so, yeah, it was, and then they took the back seats out, and they just got the spare tire back there, so it's just, like, all metal, and, the whole ride experience was a lot different, but it was fun when we were able to take it off-road and really, get after it a little bit.
Yeah, track because they do, like, rallycross events in
Yeah.
that car, like,
Yep.
they beat the dog piss out of that thing, in a way that most cars are never abused.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so, yeah, it's a different experience. I've driven in a couple of, like, high horsepower track cars, not necessarily off-road or rally builds. Oh, dude, you can hear the fuel pump going crazy, you can hear everything, the whole interior stripped, it sounds like you're just riding in an Ace Hardware store or something.
Oh, it's funny.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your Subaru, and, I know it's your first Subaru, so if you could talk a little bit about, um, how like, what the heck attracted you to these goofy cars, and what all have you kinda done to it in the last, what is this, 5 years now?
Yeah. So what's funny is this guy, Brian, that I know, he and I went and we were test driving cars years ago when we were maybe like in our late 20s, early 30s or something like that. And
Okay.
he was actually looking at a Subaru. And so we go to the Subaru dealership and I'm just looking around like, why would you want one of these cars, man? They're ugly. Like
They really
there's
are. They're like the ugly redheaded stepchild of the automotive world.
Yeah, and so I was just like, "What is the attraction to this car?" And I don't remember which one he was looking at, maybe the Outback, and I don't even remember what all models there were. I know there was an Outback and a Forester at least, but I mean, yeah, I don't know what else they would have had there. Uh, and so that was kinda and then but then, like, later on and kinda going through the years, I remember seeing WRX hatches and STI hatches and thinking like, "What's the difference between WRX and STI?" Didn't really know. I just knew that the STI was faster and had more, horsepower and stuff.
Yeah.
And then so I remember seeing those, and I didn't really pay attention to anything else. And then one day I was coming back from work or coming back from lunch at work, coming down the stairs from the parking garage. I turn the corner and I see this orange Crosstrek, and it was in 2013 because that's when they were released here in the US. And I see it and I'm like, "What the heck is that?" Because I had never seen anything like it. The body style was unlike anything I'd ever seen. And then it had all the black cladding. And so I was just like, this thing is like just the coolest thing I've ever seen. And so I guess that, because like on the left-hand side of the hatch, it says Subaru, and on the right side, it says Crosstrek. And so I don't remember if I even saw that it said Crosstrek, but I knew that it was a Subaru, I guess. And maybe I went and looked it up online to see what it was. But I just remember over the years, I started like doing more and more research into it. And then years later, I was thinking like, why didn't I look for a Crosstrek when I bought the car that I had at the time? And then I was like, oh yeah, I bought my car in 2012 and they didn't release them in 2013. But I started watching videos of let me start that over. I started watching videos of stock Crosstreks, like going through mud and going through snow,
Yeah.
knowing that I wouldn't have snow to drive through, but just like seeing like what is this car capable of? Because I didn't even really know much about the all-wheel drive system. I just knew that it looked cool and that it could go off-road. And I was seeing, what it could do through these videos. And I was like, okay, that's going to be my next car.
Dude, I love that. Do do you have like is there a car even back in your childhood? Have you always been a car person, or was there a car that you remember seeing at some point that really got your gears turning of like, "Oh, I like this automotive thing."
I would probably say like Camaros back in the day, like seeing
Okay.
like the 69 through like
Yes.
72 Camaros, because like the body style changed from the late 60s to the early 70s, and I liked them both. And as far as like early childhood, I don't really remember like thinking about cars too much. It wasn't until I got like into my early teens that I started noticing cars. Cause I remember like, just seeing like the Z28 and the IROCs and stuff like that. And I was like, man, these things are cool. This was like back in '85. But
Yeah.
then also, recognizing and noticing like the older cars and stuff too. And so like I've always loved classic cars for that reason, just seeing them around and stuff like that.
Man, you got to live through, one of the craziest eras just in, like, technological advances, automotive body styling changes, that I was born in the late '80s, and so I got to see some of the, early and mid, '90s, uh, stuff sort of take place, but, I find the '80s to be kinda like the
Dude, the
pinnacle
80s were
of
awesome.
oh, dude, it's like
Atari.
yeah, exactly, man. It's kind of the pinnacle of, American culture, in my opinion. Everything was just so crazy. Lamborghini Countaches were sort of like the supercar we all had on
Yeah.
our walls. Just crazy stuff like that. Definitely, and IROX, bro. That's like the ultimate,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
chain smoking, like perm haired mom car. Like I would
Yeah.
love to have one of those.
Yeah, they were awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. What you kind of alluded to it earlier. I know your car's not lifted currently, but what all have you done to the car to sort of outfit it for what you use it for?
Okay, so I'll start at the beginning. The first thing that I ever bought to do anything to it was I bought 2 decals from, Orsini Vinyl and Designs. I bought the one that it says "The world is flat," and it has, like, the piston on it, and I
Yes.
have that on the inside of my hatch because I didn't wanna put anything on the outside at first. And then I bought a Save the Manuals decal, and I bought a white one, and then I think I was gonna put it on the glass maybe, but then my girlfriend was like, "Are you sure you wanna put a decal on your car?" She's like, "What if you put it on a magnet and cut the magnet out, and then that way you can put it on your car and then take it off if you want to," and I was like, "Okay, that's a pretty good idea." So that's what I did. So I put that on there, and then and then I found Eccentric Designs, and started I don't remember what decals I bought first from her, but I started, talking to her about decals and everything. So I know it may have been the Texas ones possibly, because you've got the reflectors down at the bottom that are pretty big in the second gen. And I
Yeah.
saw on her website that somebody had some outline of a state, and I don't remember which one it was. And I messaged her and I was like, "Hey, can you do a Texas?" She's like, "Yeah, of course." So I bought the Texas ones from her and then bought a few more. And then this is a little sidebar, but started getting into conversations about asking her to be my first guest on the podcast, which is what kicked it off. So did decals, and then I got, let's see, I'm trying to remember, like, I had Primitive Racing on at episode 20, and I was talking to Blake and everything. And at the end of the episode, I was like, "Hey, is there any, do you do any sponsorships or anything?" And he was like, "I actually wanted to talk to you about that." And I was like, "Okay, cool." He said, I'd like to give you a full set of skid plates as like, like my form of sponsoring the podcast and your build." And I said, "Okay, well," I said, "Well, I can do some like ad reads, because he was also offering like an additional 5% off, because like
Okay.
if you bought at the time, if you bought 2 skid plates, I think you got like 5% off, and then if you bought 3 skid plates, you got 10% off. But then if you bought all 3 skid plates and you used my discount code, then you got like an additional 5% off."
Nice.
And so he was doing that for a certain period of time, and I said, "Oh, I can do like an ad read for you." He's like, "No, you don't need to do all that, just we can just like you can put it in your show notes or something that you have the discount code, and we can advertise it somehow." And I was like, "Yeah, but I mean, you're giving me a full set of skid plates, so I want to be able to like let people know, and just my way of saying thank you for, on every episode until that ends." So, but I also wanted to make it sound like, "Hey, my podcast is kind of legit because I have a sponsor now." you know? So so that was like my first kind of like ad read. And then but anyway, so skid plates, and then what else? Oh, so as a thank you for doing the podcast, there were quite a few people that came together very early on, because like, they knew that I couldn't really afford to buy anything for the podcast or for my car. So, and you can hear me talk about this on episode 25, which is like where I was the guest.
Oh, that's OG.
But yeah, super OG,
Yeah.
almost 200 episodes ago. But several people came together. I think it was like maybe 8 or 9 people or something, and they
Okay.
all pitched in, and they basically like pulled together some funds, and they sent it to me as a thank you for starting the podcast.
Sick.
And so with that money, I was able to buy a new set of wheels. I bought My first set of wheels were Mayhem wheels,
Okay.
and then I bought a set of tires, and then I think I bought, I'm trying to remember. I don't think I bought my rooftop basket and
Okay.
maybe the crossbars or something.
Sick.
So yeah, so the first like actual thing that I added was before the skid plates was I added crossbars. And I so I wanted to put crossbars on there, even kind of like forward thinking to a basket. But the reason I put crossbars on at the time that I did is because I wanted to put Christmas lights on my roof. And
Sick.
I tried it with stringing them across like the front and just doing it along the side rails, but they ended up like flapping on the roof,
Gotcha.
trying to stretch them across the crossbars. And
Okay.
from one side rail to the other side rail. And I was like, well, if I had crossbars, then I can do it on the crossbars and I don't have to stretch it across the roof and they won't flap on the roof. So that's why I bought crossbars, so that I could put Christmas lights on them. And then I was like thinking at some point I'll get a basket. And so
Yeah.
then I got a basket, and then, I don't remember what the order was, but so it was like skid plates, wheels and tires, roof rails, or the crossbars, then eventually a basket. And then I had like a Y strap for a long time on the basket to hold my tire down
Okay.
and my spare tire. And then I eventually got the Yakima tire rack from uh, Go Trek, Go Trekking, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
And and then eventually got the Spider no drill roof rack, and then got Iron Man 4x4 quick release things for an awning,
Okay.
because then I got an awning from Yescom USA, and then and I think that's pretty much. Oh, and then I got a custom shift knob. So
Nice.
that's
What's
pretty
the shift
much it.
knob? Tell me about that.
I'm trying to remember the guy's name and his page, because I'll have to go back and look. But he does like a bunch of different materials,
Okay.
and he has a laser engraver, and so it says Pearl on it, and
Sick.
that was yeah, so that was what I got. So
That's super sick.
haven't done a whole lot to the inside, but the outside is where I've done it the most.
Yeah, and I know your first set of wheels were Mayhems. What are you running
Yeah.
now? I know you switched that up a little bit.
I've got the Rika Tetons. They're the
Awesome.
satin black Tetons, and they're 15-inch.
Okay.
And I got those as part of a sponsorship from Rika Wheels, which was super super cool. And
Yeah.
and I've been running Toyos ever since. Toyos are the tires that I've been running since I switched tires, and I'm on my
Okay.
second set now. And then I also on the wheel wells I have Easy Flares that
Mhm.
my buddy Jay, who goes by Audiophile, he sent me a set of those because he had an extra pair. Thank you, Jay.
I've used the Easy Flares, man. They actually work good. They work good and they look
Yeah.
good, dude.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they look good. It was I was so intimidated putting them on too, because it kept saying like to like do it at a certain temperature, and
Mm.
to like use a hair dryer to like warm them up and everything. And ultimately I ended up not doing that. I just stuck them on,
Yeah.
and they've been on fine. I was like, why was I start thinking through things too much sometimes, and then I'll eventually just do something, and I'm like, I should have just done this all along than trying to overthink it. But
Yeah.
that's the way it goes sometimes.
That's how it was for me the first time I pulled an engine out and started, learning how to wrench. I was like, why did I wait until my 20s to start doing this? This is sick. And it's not as mystical as they make it seem. I mean, you got to take your time and make sure you have access to the right information. But oh, dude, once you just get in and start doing stuff, it feels good, man. When you're finished, you're
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh, I'm basically a god among men, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, my son changed out his spark plugs on his 3.6 Outback. He did 98% of the work himself, and
Nice.
yeah, and I've was hearing that it was a beast to do
It
those.
I know in the 3.6s, because I mean that's a big engine to stuff horizontally into an engine
Yeah,
bay, and I mean the car is literally the exact same dimensions as the 2.5, chassis.
yeah,
But that's impressive.
yeah. He did it, and we saved $300 in labor, so that was good.
Yeah. Were you there for that process?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay. Did you
I
guys?
helped out like 2% of it. I mean, yeah. So it's the only thing that was like, so the third I guess like spark plug that's
Mhm.
closest to the firewall
Mhm.
on the passenger side, the coil pack, we had a really, really hard time getting it out. And like,
Yeah.
because the
The
other ones we were able to pull out, but for one, you don't have a whole lot of room. So I'm like literally just using my
yeah.
fingertips and trying to pull it out. And I'm like, this thing will not come out. So I eventually took a pair of pliers, like, the pliers that you can adjust.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I got a paper towel because I didn't want to like really damage it. And I put the paper towel over the coil pack, and then grabbed it with the pliers just kind of gently and just slowly worked it out. And it finally came out.
Dude, that is how you have to approach everything when it comes to wrenching. It's like it's never going to go as smooth as it's supposed to
Yeah.
in the manual. You're going to
Yep.
have to improvise, you're going to have to, like you said, wrap a rag, wrap a towel, wrap something around some pliers and start yanking on something. You're going to have to use a bunch of extensions, whatever it takes, man.
Yeah. But other than that, and then the sixth, I guess it's the sixth one, which
Mhm.
is on the driver's side, closest to the driver.
Mhm.
It I mean, it's so tight in there, and so
Yeah.
we had like like an
Swivel.
yeah, swivel, but it would like swivel like halfway and then get kind of stuck, and then you'd have to like work it, and then it would come loose, and then it'd swivel the other way. So I did that for a little bit, and then my son got in there and got it out the rest of the way. But that was pretty much all I did. He took everything off that he needed to take off to get to the spark plugs and to get to the coil packs. Took all, I mean, he did all of it. And I mean, we
Yeah.
had watched a couple of videos beforehand, but once we saw how to do it, they were like, this is not going to be, I mean, it was easy in the sense of it wasn't like too technical. It
Yeah.
was just difficult in the fact that it was such a tight space that it was hard to get stuff in and out. But other than that, I mean, I think it took us like 4.5 hours total,
Okay.
which, not too bad for doing it for the first time.
Yeah. Did you guys have to, because I see people, I've never worked on a 3.6. That's actually a really good motor, side note. But
That's
did
what
you
we've
have
heard.
to, yeah, yeah. Did you have to unbolt the engine and then lift it at all, or were you able to do all of that?
I've heard that that's the best way to do it, or like to get to them easier to do that. But no, we just left it in place
That's
because,
rad.
yeah,
Can you sort of talk a little bit about you got two kids, right?
yeah,
Yeah, okay. So what are they driving now? I know you brought them over to the dark side.
yeah. So my daughter got her car first, and
Okay.
she was actually looking at a Rav4, and because she really liked them, and then she was like looking into potentially getting an all-wheel drive, but with the RAV4, you have to pay additional for the all-wheel
Yeah.
drive. And I know that, of course, that had an influence on her buying a Crosstrek, but she started looking into the new Crosstreks, and she really started to like them because she was looking at the Crosstrek and the RAV4. Then she started leaning more towards the Crosstrek, and then she was like, "I think I'm gonna get a Crosstrek." And there was a blue one, and I think like a gray one that she really liked.
Okay.
And we were gonna go to Gilman Subaru Southwest in Houston because I knew the general sales manager. And so she's looking at the 2 colors that she wanted, and I think they had one of them, but not the other. And then I was like, "Well, let's go to the dealership because they may have some colors that you aren't thinking about or haven't seen that you may end up liking. You just
Yeah.
never know. So let's just go." And then we get there, and the sales manager, he had left. He wasn't even there anymore. I was like,
Oh.
"Dang it, man. We drove,
Oh.
like, all the way over here because I wanted to see him. I was thinking, he would really take good care of us because he knows who I am." And
Yeah.
then he wasn't there, but we still ended up having a good experience. But she saw the Sunblaze Pearl, which is like that kinda orangey reddish color,
Mhm.
and she fell in love with it, and then that's the one. She ended up getting the premium, but not the 2.5 premium. She got the 2.0 premium.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
the
but yeah, she loved it.
yeah, and the paint codes, man, they look different in person. It's a different experience when you actually put hands on the car.
Yeah,
Totally
and
different.
and we hadn't seen that color. That's the thing, is
Okay.
we got there, she'd never seen that color before, so when she saw that, she was like, "I'm really liking this color a lot." She's like, "Oh, no, I liked the other colors, but this one is calling me more." So, yeah, so she test drove the 2.5 at first. And then, because we started with that, because she wanted to look at, like, what the financing would be, and then she was like, "Yeah, that's out of my budget." So then we looked at the 2.0, and for her, she's not like, "I have to have a car that's, like, this much faster having the 2.5." For her, she just wanted a brand new car that was gonna have a lot more features than what she was, previously driving. And so, it worked out for her with the 2.0 and financing and everything, and drove it home, and she loves it. And she's putting a lot of miles on it too. I mean,
It's taken after you.
she's had it for, I think she bought it in April, so she's had it not quite 2 and a or not quite a year and a half. It's close to a year and a half, and I think she's like at 25,000 miles or so.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, she's getting up there.
So, quick side note, I know you love to talk about the mileage on the Subaru. What's it at today or the last time you looked?
I think 137, maybe, somewhere around there.
It's only 5 years old. I love that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's hers, and then Luke has the 2010 3.6 Outback, and I bought that from, Sean, who goes by Clean Man Hands. Shout out,
Okay.
Sean.
I'm gonna
And,
follow him right now.
huh? Oh, yeah, yeah. So he lives, like, north of me in Texas,
Okay.
and he will buy Subarus, fix them up, and then sell them. And so he's always posting that, he's got another Subaru for sale. And I
Okay.
messaged him like 2 years ago, I think, and I said, "Hey, if you have anything that's like in the 5 to $7,000 range that's in, good condition and everything, just let me know." And so he had just posted it, and then he messaged me and said, "Hey, I have this Outback available if you wanna come take a look at it." And so he was like, "I'll need, like, X amount of money down to hold it," because 'cause I've dealt with that before where people are
Mhm.
like, "Oh, can I just, look at it or whatever?"
Yeah.
And he said, "I just don't wanna get burned." And I was like, "Oh, I totally understand." So I, like, Venmoed him the money and then went to the bank and got the rest of it and took Luke up there and bought it for him for his birthday. And I
Oh,
think it was
dude.
for his 18th birthday. So, yeah, it was cool. He was kind of upset about it at first because he'd been driving like a 2003 Dodge Caravan,
Okay.
and, he started driving it his senior year in high school, so he kinda become attached to that, and, all of his friends knew him with that car and everything.
That's
So, it was
sick.
kinda like I was taking that away from him, which I get it. It's like your first car that you get to drive around and drive your friends around with, so it's like
Yeah.
there's an attachment, an emotional attachment to it, but, he's grown to like the Outback, and he can go off-roading with it, which he has before, and it's funny because like, he's gone through places with friends that have, gotten stuck, and they're like, "Man, it just goes right through," and he's like, "Yeah, it's a Subaru, it's got all-wheel drive."
Dude, and you knocked it out of the park with that car. Was that 4th? I can never keep all the gens of the Outback straight. I was
I
just
can't
talking about
either.
this with somebody because Legacy, I can keep Legacy straight because it wasn't until 2nd gen Legacy that they created the Outback as like a trim package.
Yeah.
And so I'm always a generation ahead or behind with it, but I think that's such a good generation, and that 3.6 got a ton of power.
Oh, yeah.
Just oh, dude, and that's such a rare car, which is a pro and a con because it's harder to find parts for. But if you take care of it, you probably won't have to do a whole lot of eBay hunting for
Yeah.
parts.
Yeah, he's got 206,000 miles on it or something. We bought
Okay,
it when it had 199,
okay,
and we've had some issues with it, but we've done some work on it. And I told him, I said, "Look, if we had a car that had no issues at all, we wouldn't have learned anything." And
yeah,
so we've been learning a lot with his car and my car.
yeah. And honestly, man, I own 3 vehicles, and they're all technically projects. But I wouldn't have it any other way, man. Like I'll trade, you know, like the amount of money I would spend on a car payment goes straight into my retirement account every month. Like
Yeah,
it's
that's good.
it just feels so good to be like, "Oh, I'm the reason this car's still running,"
Oh
and
yeah,
being like, "Yeah, I
yeah.
got my hands dirty. I left skin under in the engine bay of that car, and that's why it still has life in it."
Yeah. We also, in addition to his spark plugs, his, uh, AC discharge hose burst one time,
I hear
and
you put that in a bonus episode, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and
okay.
it burst, and he was downtown, and I had to call AAA to get it towed because I called Milton, and I
Mhm.
had Milton FaceTime Luke because I was like, I have no idea what's going on." And so Milton was, like, looking at it, and I was like, "We just wanna know if he can drive it home, or what." And he was like, "Absolutely do not drive that car." And I was like, "Oh, thank goodness I have AAA." So we called AAA. They came out and then dropped it off. The next day, I went out on my lunch break and I had to find there's a dealership that's like maybe 20 minutes from me, West Houston
Okay.
Subaru, and I was looking for the AC discharge hose. They didn't have it. They said, "Oh, we can get it like in a couple of days." And I was like, "I need one now." And so I found another dealership that was further away. So I drove out to that one, picked it up, brought it back, and that night we changed it out ourselves, and he again did most of the work himself and got it done.
That's awesome. And did you guys recharge it yourself or did you take it somewhere?
No, we took it. There's a place across the street that
Okay.
did it for us. Yeah, because we weren't really sure exactly how we would need to recharge it, and we were told by I think it was Jacob Redneck with Tech. He said,
Hmm.
"No, you should take it to a shop and have them do it." I said, "Okay, that's cool. I'd rather
Yeah.
make sure it's done right."
Yeah. I figured out how to do AC recharges last year. And there's a lot of weird little nuances to where if you don't do it right, you can either go blind or have to do it all over again if you're not careful. But it's a little more of an involved process than just dumping stuff in it like most other
Yeah,
things. So I think you probably made the right call. But yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
once
I spent $200 the first day getting the getting the
there you
hose,
go.
and then the next day another $200 for the recharge. I'm like,
Yeah.
man, I just dropped some money on this car in 2 days.
Do you know why the thing burst?
I don't know if if it was because of pressure or if that hose was just old or what. Yeah, I don't know why it did it, but
Okay.
he was down there and he was like, "There's steam coming out from underneath my hood." And I was like, "Oh, crap." And I said,
Yeah.
"Okay, well, pop the hood. Let me know if you see any green fluid anywhere."
Yeah.
And he was like, "No, I don't see any green fluid." Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I do. So
Oh no.
he didn't, yeah, he wasn't sure what it was at first because when he opened the hood, by that time, like, all the fluid had come out of the hose and,
Hmm.
I guess whatever was being pumped through there. So he didn't see it spewing out, but it had gotten, like, all over his battery and some other stuff, and but, yeah, I mean, changed it out and got Milton to help us with some of it, diagnose what it was, and then Jacob helped walk us through how to, like, change it out and some of the things that we needed to move to get to the bottom part of the hose and everything, so everybody's been, like, super helpful with everything that we've done to our cars.
Yeah. Dude, that's one of my favorite things about Subarus and the Subaru community is like because I run into so much stuff, that because I don't have any formal training at all. I just started messing with cars probably to my own detriment. I probably cost myself more money than if I just paid somebody else to do it. But I like the
It's
process. But
fun.
yeah, yeah, 100%. And like, there's almost always somebody that I can call and be like, "Hey, I've never run into this before. What do you think?"
Yeah,
I love
absolutely.
that.
Yeah,
Um,
everybody's so helpful.
oh, dude, absolutely. There's maybe in all my years because I've been driving these cars. Man, I hate to say it, but almost 20 years. It makes me feel like an old man. But yeah, in all my years, there's maybe only been one person in the Subaru community that I was like, I didn't really care for that guy. But
Yeah, it's rare.
yeah, he wasn't even actually a Subaru dude. He was more of a stance guy that just happened to own a Subaru.
Yeah.
um, I forgot to ask about this. We got to give a big shout out to Mitch and to Melee. What are you running for a battery setup in your car?
Oh, yeah, we could talk about that.
Yeah, let's go.
So the first thing that I got from Mitch was the battery mount,
Hmm.
and he made that for me. Because it was, like, one of the first production ones that they were started to make. It's the Group 35, I think, for
Yeah.
the Crosstrek,
Okay.
and he etched the Subie and You podcast logo on the front, which is super, super cool.
Sick.
Shout out, Mitch. Thank you so much, man.
Let's
That was,
go,
like,
dude.
super, super cool. So, I had that in there with my OEM battery, and then, like, oh, yeah. So, I'm thinking back now, like, maybe this was a sign, but on my way to my job interview for the job I just got laid off from, I got a flat tire, and I had to pull off I was driving on 99, which here is a toll road, so it's like a highway, so it's got,
Okay.
it's elevated from like, frontage road, so I pulled off onto the frontage road. I'm wearing slacks, a long sleeve shirt. I've got my tire up on my roof rack, so I had to climb up onto my roof rack, unratchet it, take it all off and everything, and then change my tire. get all that done, and then I get into my car and it doesn't start. And I'm like, "You gotta be kidding me." So,
Worse luck.
I had one of those, like, anti-gravity little chargers, battery chargers.
Hmm.
Thankfully, I bought that from Mitch
Okay.
before the battery, but after the battery mount. So I hooked that up to it, starts my car again, thankfully, and ended up driving on to the interview and everything. Uh, but so after that, I'm like, "I've gotta get a new battery." So I ended up getting one of the, crap, what's it called? Um,
Full throttle?
yeah, full throttle
Yeah.
battery. And it was like it was kinda pricey, but Mitch was like, "This battery will last you forever." So I ordered that battery from him. So then I had the battery mount, then the full throttle battery. Then I eventually got a pitch stop from him. So I
Hey, there
changed
you
out the
go.
pitch stop with his, and Luke helped me with that. So that was cool.
Okay.
And then I did the front strut tower brace. And then I have a full set of engine bay caps.
Let's go.
So yeah, I'm running some melee stuff in there.
Yeah.
It's
I've
cool.
got the I've got the same setup actually. I've got all the same parts that you mentioned. I don't have a Group 35 in either of my Subarus. They're slightly smaller, but I
Okay.
do own a Group 35 full throttle that's it's in the back of my Jeep.
Nice. Nice.
But yeah, I just I was telling you I was out of town this past weekend to kind of say goodbye to the homie. And
Yeah, man, I'm sorry about that.
oh,
That's
thank you. I appreciate it. I
yeah, it's
just
tough.
feel horrible for his parents, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got home and yeah, it was just mentally exhausting, because
Oh, of
spent
course.
time. Yeah, I spent time with. I hadn't cried in a long time, man, but went to the hospital room and he was, just there on a morphine drip in a coma. Um, but yeah, I spent time with his mom, spent time with his dad, and his dad handles grief a little bit differently, so I didn't really know what I was walking into when I went to hang out with him. He's such a good dude. They're all good people, his whole family, but I got home and I was just drained. It was about 3.5 hour drive to get there and about 3 hours back because there was no traffic. And I got home, went straight into the house, didn't leave the house for I didn't drive any of my cars. I just rode with my wife, but straight up left the dome light on, dude.
Oh, man.
Left the dome light on. I drained. It's a full throttle FT410, so it's slightly smaller than the battery that you have. Dude, I drained that thing further down than any battery I've ever drained because it just sat there for days
Oh,
with the
man.
light on. And I was like, this might have done it. This might have killed the full throttle battery. Got the NOCO out, put it on the charger for a few hours, came out, that light was green. Tested it with the multimeter, see what the voltage looked like, and it was good, man. Started up, been driving it the last couple days.
Nice. Good battery there.
Dude, and that battery's been discharged all the way down probably two other times, dude. That poor battery is probably just wishing it had a new owner. It's like, come on, please sell the car to somebody that's not a idiot.
Dude, stop doing this to me, man. Come on.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, I've got the strut tower braces and pitch stop mounts on both my Subarus and engine bay caps, man. I love having stuff for Mitch because he's, it's still a small company. And,
Yeah.
having things that are a little more bespoke and small batch. I'm like, oh yeah, I want that.
Yeah, and I got to meet him finally in Oregon
Yes.
for the first time, which was super, super cool.
Yeah.
It was, great getting to meet him, get him on the mic for a little bit.
Hmm.
But, like, with my car, I don't need the front strut tower brace. I wanted to buy it because I wanna help support him, and it
Yeah.
looks cool. And then same with the engine bay caps and the pitch stop, I didn't need either one of those, but it's just, it's I like supporting small businesses, and he's
Same.
been so good to me and so good to the podcast, and so, he's been such a great guy through this whole thing and always very supportive.
Yeah. Yeah. He was my first supporter, and I know he was one of your earliest supporters. of what you were doing. And he's that kind of dude, you know, even when he's because I work for him occasionally, like on the side, just to help him with like running ads and things like that. Because as a business owner, the last thing you want to think about is, oh no, what's the new like update on these? Because Google's always changing their platform. They're always
Yeah.
morphing it, but I have my face in that stuff all day. And even when they've had like a super bad sales month or whatever, where, you know, when the economy's rough, he's still like looking for opportunities to, you know, support people like us, you know,
Yeah.
scoundrels that are just talking for fun, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, no, he's a great guy.
Oh man, yeah, massive shout out to Mitch and Melee, dude. I love those guys. What are some of the other, I guess, like companies, groups? I know you've done some work with Subaru of America. Um, what other uh, groups have you sort of collaborated with, and what's that sort of looked like for you?
So, Eccentric Designs has been one of them. Of course, she's a huge supporter of the podcast and
Yes, sir.
sponsors it. And I've got, a few of her decals on my car. And then Morimoto Lighting. So I had them on the podcast,
Okay,
and
I
they
remember that
sent,
episode. That was
yeah,
a good one.
it was
Really
a good,
good.
yeah, it was good. So they sent me some things, and like they sent me, so they sent me a set of LED headlights. And do you happen to know if you can angle them down or if you can move the position of them, or once you put them in, they're in?
Are they just bulbs that lock into your
Yeah,
housing? It's like, oh yeah, you should be able to adjust it the way you'd adjust any
I don't know how
headlight.
that I don't know how that works.
So
The reason I ask is because I get flashed all the time because they are really bright, and I guess they're maybe too high up, and I flash people back, and then they'll flash me, and then I'll flash them, like, a whole bunch of times. I'm like, "I don't have my brights on, they're just
yeah,
LEDs, and they're angled wrong, I guess." But and I
yeah,
'cause for a long time, I thought that it was my fog lights,
mm,
'cause I had those in, and I thought, "Maybe my fog lights are, blinding people, maybe they're too high." 'Cause they don't seem as adjustable as, like, or as easily adjustable as the, Diode Dynamics, 'cause I think
okay.
those you can just adjust them from the front, like, you can push them. But
Oh,
these, you have to go
yeah,
back behind and do it on the housing, and it's kind of a little bit of a pain.
okay,
But, yeah, so I with them, I have, a set of fog lights, a set of ditch lights, and then but the fog lights were a gift, but not from Morimoto.
okay,
The ditch lights I bought, and then they sent me, like, some sunglasses and some gloves and, like, a little coffee mug, and then they sent me this little
rad.
light bar that you attach to the license plate, and you hook it up to your reverse light, and it's
Okay,
basically like a mini light bar for reversing so that you can
sick.
see behind you, because I remember being at an Airbnb when we went to I think me and my kids went to Austin or something one time, and I'm backing up in this driveway, and there's no lights on the house, it's really late at night, and I'm like, "I can't see anything at all behind me."
Yeah,
And so that's something that I still need to get put on and wired on, because, like, there's been so many times when I'm backing up and I just can't see. So that'll be nice. But,
yeah. Let's
so yeah,
go.
so I've worked with them. And then, of course, Spider No Drill Roof Rack had him on the podcast, and he sent me a rack, before I drove up to, Subaru Flat Fest in Madison, Wisconsin. And I wanted to, like, and then I made, like, little, display things with, like, a QR code so that people could scan it if they, and
Okay,
had, like, a little blurb on there and what the discount code was and stuff. Because I was the only one at the event that had a Spider No Drill roof rack on my
sick,
roof. So, because I wanted to,
sick.
like, shout them out and represent them
Hmm.
and everything. And then it was when I drove back from there that I had all the leaks and everything. But,
I was gonna ask you to
uh
reiterate about that in a little bit.
yeah, so Spider, and then, of course, Ryko wheels. had them on the podcast, and they're just such a super great company. And I got to see them at Overland Expo and hang out with them a little bit. And um, I don't think there's really been any other brands other than uh, Mitch and Primitive Racing.
Hmm.
But I mean, I've had other brands on the podcast, but none that I've like actually collaborated with that I can think of. Other than, of course, Subaru Gear, which is huge
Yeah.
shout out to Subaru Gear. That's like amazing that I got them as a sponsor, and so grateful for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Bucky
Heck yeah.
shirt.
Let's go, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, Bucky, I really enjoyed your episode with him.
Thank
He's
you. Thank you.
yeah, that was an absolute, and you did Travis and Rhiannon, done some heavy hitters, man. Bucky is I grew up skating, like skating and
Oh,
snowboarding.
nice.
And so getting to see, I kind of quit doing that when I went back to school and was trying to sort of like dial in a career path. And later on I saw some things pop up from Bucky. I was like, that dude drives Subarus now? Like, heck
Yeah.
yeah. So it's super, super good to hear him kind of talk about all that on your podcast. He's definitely a good human being.
Yeah. And I don't know how much. I know I've shared this some on some episodes here and
Mhm.
there, but so so Subaru flew me out to Boxer Fest in 2021,
Okay.
and that was where I was introduced to Bucky. That was where I first met him. And
Okay.
this guy, Charles from Subaru, was walking with me. He's like, "Hey, I'm gonna go introduce you to somebody." And he's like, "Hey, Bucky," or he's like, "Hey, this is Bucky, and Bucky, this is Raphael." And Bucky was like, "Are you the guy that does the podcast?" And he like reaches out to shake my hand. I'm like,
That's
"What?"
crazy. What? Dude, Bucky Lassick knew who you were. That is so
Well,
crazy.
I think it was just because Charles probably told him like, "Hey, I'm
Okay.
gonna introduce you to this guy." But so so when I first met Bucky, the knowledge that I had of Bucky, like what I knew of him was that I remembered seeing him skate during X Games. That's it. That's all I knew about
Yeah.
him. And I think that I think before I met him though, I intentionally went and like looked up some stuff, and I saw that, or no, it wasn't even then. It was before I had him on the podcast that I did this other thing. But yeah, when I met Bucky, all I knew of him was that he skated at X Games, and I remember seeing him. That was it. And then it wasn't until like I started going through this journey more and more that I'm like, "Oh my gosh, Bucky's like a huge deal." Like,
Dude,
because I just didn't know. So I wasn't like, because I know a lot of people are like, "Oh my gosh, it's Bucky Lassick," and they start freaking out. I was just like, "Oh, cool, I met Bucky Lassick. I don't know who he is," kind of thing.
he's so any kind of extreme sport, there's a very short career path for the it's just like football, they've got um there's a lot of demand on your body, but also the sport progresses like crazy, and that guy, I think he first started getting sponsors in the skateboarding world back when skateboards had only, one curve in them,
Yeah.
and to see somebody kind of progress through the decades and, still have a successful career. And he still tears it up on the vert
Oh,
ramp.
yeah.
I'm
He's
like,
always posting.
I mean, he's creeping up, I think, on your age.
He is my
And
age. He's
is
he's
he?
also
Okay.
52. I think he's
No
a
kidding.
little I think his birthday is before mine or
Okay.
after. It's either before mine or after mine, but right now we're both 52.
Okay, okay. I don't think,
Yeah.
yeah, I knew he was getting up there in age, but he just is like, um, I guess like an inspiration to me, somebody that's just done so much in their life. And I
Oh,
think
yeah.
he's always been just um, like a positive dude,
Mhm.
because the skateboarding world when I grew up was a real negative environment and, that type of
Yeah.
thing. But yeah, yeah, he's a solid dude for sure. Maybe
He is.
maybe one of these days I'll have to fly out to one of the events that he's at.
Have
That'd
you
be
not
sick.
met him?
No, I've never met him.
Oh,
Not yet.
man, yeah. You gotta make it out to at least, Subie Fest or something.
Dude, I'd
That's
love
usually where
to.
he's at.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to. Well, I'm hoping that I saw he got an RS sort of set up for ARA rally, and
Mm,
I'm
yeah.
hoping that one of these days he'll be at the Oregon Trail rally. That's
Yeah. That would
that
be
would
cool.
be super sick. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good event, man.
I know. I want to
I,
make it out to a rally.
dude, I'm telling you, I don't know what it would take, but if we can get you out here to Oregon for the OTR, man, I am about 2 hours from where my favorite day of the OTR takes place, but you're welcome at my home anytime, man. I'd love to have you, and
Yeah.
you could borrow one of my clapped out Subarus for the week.
Yeah. I do need to give a shout out to another brand of somebody that I have worked with. Uh, I didn't necessarily forget about them. I just like, as I was trying to think of other brands, I looked at my shirt,
Orbis
Orbis Overlanding.
Overlanding. Yeah, that was a good
Dude, man.
episode too.
Yeah. I met him first at Subaru Flatfest, and then I met him again in Virginia at Overland Expo. But he's the one that he gave me the set of fog lights from Morimoto.
Okay.
And then he was doing merch for me for a while before I had my merch store, which I want to bring a merch store back, but I
Okay.
need to look into that. I was
Please do.
actually looking at it the other night. I want to do it through, probably we'll do it through Shopify. And then I found this other brand called Ninja PCD or POD. They do,
Print on
they're like
demand.
a print on demand.
Yeah.
Because I was using another print on demand company, but I mean, their quality was good. But the thing I didn't like about them is they were constantly discontinuing shirts and stuff
Oh,
and and
I
and
got you.
products, and it got to be so annoying to try to keep up with that.
Yeah.
So at some point, if I can do it again, I would like to do just start off with hats and t-shirts.
Hmm.
And I mean, that's really all I was doing. But I mean, like some of the t-shirts that I really liked that were comfortable and everything, they just kept getting discontinued.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a huge thing, man. When it comes to merch, like I'll buy anything just because I want to represent, whatever it is. But when I get a shirt that's actually well tailored, fits nice on the human body, doesn't accentuate my goofy gut, I'm like, oh, let me buy another one.
Yeah. But by the way, there's still merch available.
Heck yeah.
'Cause,
Okay.
Will, who goes by, Subaru Guy 11, he wanted to get a hoodie, and so
Okay.
he bought a hoodie from me. I just have to go to that print-on-demand company that I was using that I had tied to my website. So, basically, like, if somebody wants to buy something, I could just let you know what's available, just Venmo me, and then I pay for it out of my account
Okay.
to swap out the difference. So,
Now, just if people want to do that, should they message you privately on your
yeah,
Instagram? Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Rad.
that'd be the
Cool.
easiest way to do it.
Okay, I might have to holler at you
Alright.
for some gear.
Okay, yeah.
I
I
gotta support.
yeah, I wanna do the gear again, do the merch again. It's just I gotta figure out my full-time job situation because, like, right now, I'm gonna be I'm extremely thankful for the sponsorships, and I'm thankful for my patrons because that's really gonna help carry me through,
Hmm.
until I can get into a full-time position again. It's not gonna pay all my bills, but it definitely does help. So if
Yeah,
there's anybody out there that wants to help support the podcast, you can join Patreon, and that really, really does help. And it just, I mean, it's Patreon is a way for people to support, content creators. If
yeah,
somebody's doing something that you like, it's just your way to show, thanks. Like, hey, I
yeah,
want to support you. Thank you.
yeah. It took me long enough, but yeah, I just signed up last week. What
Yes, and I
if people?
appreciate it.
Oh, dude, my pleasure. If people want to do that, where do they go to make that happen?
They can go to the link tree on my profile, the
Hmm.
podcast profile on Instagram, and it's the second link there.
Okay, awesome.
It says, let's see what it says because I don't remember exactly what it says.
I know that
Um,
feeling.
but if you go to the link tree, yeah, it just says support the podcast via Patreon, and it's the
Okay,
the second. I don't know if you can see it, but anyway, it's the second link on there.
Okay. And
So
what are some of the benefits that you give to your patrons on there?
so they get access to the Discord server, and they I do have, like, some episodes, well, like, that was, like, oh, what was it? Like, candid conversations that
Rad.
I would record before and after the actual episode
Okay.
that I was doing, and I was doing that for a while, and then we were doing, like, Discord chats, like, there's you can chat through the Discord, but we were having, like, actual calls through Discord,
Oh, rad.
and I stopped doing that because, like, timing and everything, trying to schedule it because I was doing everything in the evenings,
Yeah.
and then I was doing it a lot more when my son was just coming over, like, on the weekends and then, like, 1 day a week, and I had, like, an actual schedule going. But then, like, once he got his own car, once he got out of high school and everything, like, he comes over a lot more often. And so I was trying to spend more time with him, and so I stopped doing a lot of the stuff, and I feel bad about that because, it's like I wasn't really giving anything back to the patrons. But I was giving, episodes every week, and
Let's
so
go.
there's been a lot there've been so many people that have stuck around and just continue to support the podcast just for the sake of supporting the podcast. So I'm so appreciative to everybody that's stuck around. However, as far as what I'm gonna do for the patrons, I literally today I created a full like email list of all my patrons and I sent out a thank you email earlier today. So now I have them all grouped together. I can just start one email, go to, you know, blind carbon copy that whole group and send stuff out because I want to start, once if I get an episode finished up early, I want to send out a link so that patrons can listen to it early and then, just send out thank you emails and stuff. And, when it, so it's things like that. And then I would like to try to start up the chats again and be able to get on with people. But if you're part of the Discord server, don't think that you can only talk while I'm around. Like I want, it's for everybody to just chat and have conversations.
Yeah. I've enjoyed being in there, just kind of looking at what people are doing and that type of thing. No, no, man, I love it. And yeah, if people are listening to this, do me a favor and go support. Gotta gotta keep the homie
Thank you.
fed and taken care of. So
Yeah, it's been pretty like eye-opening in a way of thinking cuz like with my full-time salary, like I was truly blessed with my full-time salary because I was I'm in like right now even without a job, I'm still like in the best financial position I've ever been in my
heck
life
yeah.
cuz I
Okay.
worked really really hard at it. But, before I lost my job, I was very thankful that I could drop $400 in 2 days to help, get my son's car fixed. I was able to I spent $750 on my on my 2 front axles that I didn't need,
Yeah.
and then I had to spend another, like, few $100 to get one of the axle seals replaced because I didn't wanna try to do
Okay.
it myself, and at the same time, I got the, sway bar bushings replaced because I already had them. I got the sway bar end links replaced because I had
Okay.
bought those. So the shop that did the axle seal, they did those things also. And then, being able to just go places and buy groceries and buy gas and, buy extra groceries that I didn't
Yeah.
really need, and
I
so
know all about that.
but now I look back at it and I'm not like I wouldn't say that I'm penny pinching right now. I'm just not spending any extra money that I don't need to spend, but I did, like, find ways to cut back my expenses significantly and by a few $100 and a month. So that's really
Nice.
helpful right now. Plus, I paid some stuff off,
Heck yeah.
and right now I'm sitting on 0 credit card debt, which is like,
Let's
you
go,
know
dude.
yeah. So
Let's go.
yeah, when and then when I left my old job the one before the one that I got laid off, but the one that I left to go to this most recent one, I ended up, I had like, this is, like getting totally personal, but I had unpaid 401k loans
Okay.
that I didn't pay back from my old job. So I had to pay the taxes on that unpaid balance. And
Oh
I
man.
literally right no, I did it right after I got laid off. I paid the last payment on that IRS debt. So
Let's
it's
go.
just it's so weird how like all of these things were coming to an end right as my job was ending, because I also had a membership at a gym here called Burn Boot Camp,
Oh,
and
okay.
I had signed up for a year, and that was, gyms aren't cheap.
Yeah.
And I told them before, like, I think it was like a month before I got laid off, but I was like, "Hey, I'm not gonna renew my membership because I was literally working on trying to cut as many expenses as I could to see like, okay, how little do I need to make? How much can I live off of so that I can quit my job?" And so I was trying to get prepared to see, what I could do to potentially quit my job and then I get laid off. However, I was already planning to not have that job for too much longer if I could do it. And so all this stuff just kind of came together right at the same time. The only thing that, like, I was really hoping for was to stick that job out and get another end of the year bonus, because then I could have paid my car off. But now that didn't work out.
Yeah. Dude, those end of year bonuses, those are that's a nice carrot on a stick, man.
Yeah, I wish I would have been in this position back then whenever I got that bonus as far as, like, my financial position. I wasn't in a bad one, but,
Yeah.
you know, I'm I'm not like I'll be okay for the next couple of months because I've got a severance. But beyond that, if I'm not able to get a full-time job, then, then it's gonna start hurting.
Yeah. Uh, you'll have to remind me at the end of this. Let me put you on some game with like an program that I started doing. It
Okay.
pays half my mortgage every month, and I got in at
What?
7%, so it's a pretty saucy
Wow.
mortgage.
Okay.
But yeah,
Okay.
I'll put you on that
Okay.
after this.
Hold on, I'm gonna write this down so I don't forget about it.
Yeah, yeah, I got you, and I don't tell anybody about this
Okay. Alright.
because it's getting saturated
Yeah, yeah. I
with
get that.
goofballs.
Actually, so the Roadcaster Pro I
Hmm.
got because I can have 4 people on mics at the same time. And I
Okay,
got that because I knew that there were local events that I was gonna be going to, and
okay,
I wanted
okay.
to be able to take my equipment and be able to do that. But another reason that I got the Rodecaster Pro is because I I had somebody call me, or somebody that wanted to record on the podcast. It was Chris, who goes by Shadow Rue. I think it was episode 7 maybe,
Okay.
and he was like, he wasn't gonna be able to record through the computer for some reason, like, he didn't have a computer or he had an old one or something, and I know you're using Zencastr and the video feature of it. Back then, I was using Zencastr, but just only the audio part of it because I don't think they had rolled out the video yet.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, he was like, I can only record through the phone," and I'm like, "How am I gonna record through the phone? I don't have a way to hook up a phone." Like, I couldn't find anything, I didn't know what I was gonna do. So, I literally got this box, I put some foam in it, I put a microphone in there
What?
with, my cell phone
On
on
speakerphone?
on speakerphone, so that whenever he was talking, the microphone would pick it up, and that was how I recorded with him, and I put it like that box off to the side, kinda, like, out of the
Oh,
way,
yeah.
but that was my fix for recording through the phone. But the Rodecaster Pro has a feature where you can record you can connect the phone through Bluetooth, or you can hard connect the phone to the Rodecaster, and
Okay.
so it has a bunch of different channels because you have 1, 2, 3, 4 for the 4 different mics. Then you have the channel for which is the USB that hooks up to the computer. Then you have 2 phone channels, one that is hardwired, one that is Bluetooth, and then you have another channel that has a bunch of pads on it with, like, sound effects and stuff.
Okay.
And so, yeah, this is, like, overkill for what I'm doing now, but I actually when I recorded with somebody the other day, and I recorded with them it was when I was recording with, Carrie and, Carrie and
Her co-driver?
yeah. So, the
Okay.
ladies that were driving at
The
the Rebel
Rebel.
Rally, that were
Yeah.
driving the factory Subaru teams,
Mhm.
they sent me a Zoom link, and I could not get connected. Mine just had the little thing that was swirling, and I'm like, "You've gotta be kidding me," because 'cause they're on a time crunch.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, I'm like and then okay, hold on a second. So, I was like, "Okay, well, we'll do" they're like, "Can you just call?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I can call." So, this thing here
Yeah.
connects to you got this end that connects to the Roadcaster, then I got
Mhm.
the little adapter for my cell phone. This is from my old cell phone. This has the lightning plug,
Mhm.
and my new phone has USB-C. So I'm
Yeah.
like, "I can't connect. What am I
Yeah.
gonna do?" And I was like, "Okay, I have the Bluetooth. I can connect to my phone to the Roadcaster Pro via Bluetooth." But I'm like, I didn't have GarageBand set up for that channel. So now I'm like, I don't remember which channel it is. So I tried to connect and
Okay.
it wouldn't work. And I was like, let me call you back. So I had to like set up a new track on GarageBand. I had to look up on Google, figure out what track that or what channel the Bluetooth one was, call them back. And then I'm like, okay, I think I got it. And then they started talking and it worked out. But I was just like, you got to be kidding me. Like, I hate it when stuff like that happens when there's, like, connection errors or connection issues or something, because the first time I had Rihanna and Gelsomino on, I sent her a link, a Zencaster link,
Oh, yeah.
and she couldn't open it for some reason. So we're emailing, I emailed her and she's like, "Oh, I can't open it." So she emailed me and said, "I can't open it." And I said, "Okay, well," there was something else that I had tried for a while too. I don't remember what it was, and I didn't really like it because I was having connection issues, and I'm like, "Here, let me" and I had to, like, re-sign up for it real quick, and then I sent that link to her. She's like, "I can't open that link either." And I'm like, "Oh
Oh
my
my
gosh, Rihanna and
gosh.
Gelsomino is on the, like, I'm can only communicate with her through email." I'm literally sweating because I'm so nervous and freaking out and thinking, like, "This cannot be happening." And so she sends me an email and she said, "Can you just send me a Zoom link?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I've never even used Zoom." And so I literally had to sign up for an account as fast as I could, try to figure out and look at all everything and try to figure out how to use Zoom. And then I sent her a link and we got connected finally. But I'm like, Why is this happening? This cannot be happening. I've
Can
got
you
Rihanna and Gelsomino on the podcast and we can't even get connected. And so that is why I use Zoom to this day because of her episode. And I
Yeah.
just stuck with it.
Can you actually tell people so and a lot of people know this, but, just so people understand, like, who you were trying to talk to, can you tell people who she is?
So Rihanna Gelsomino is Travis Pastrana's co-driver and has been for a number of years now. And she's also from Australia and she's from a small town. She grew up in a family that did rally. And so she was in a few episodes. So you can go check out her episodes. But I think she was episode 44 was her first one, and then a higher one, it's Rally 101 with Rihanna Gelsomino, and then we did another episode when she, drove with, co-drove for Leah Block.
Okay.
But,
Yeah,
yeah, I was sweating, but if and I'm sure you've probably never met her in person, right?
I have,
Oh, you have? Oh,
finally.
that's right.
Yeah.
Did you meet her in Oregon?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, yeah. She is She's awesome. She will sit around and just talk with people and tell stories, and I mean, she's just she's like Bucky in the sense that she's just super humble, very down to earth, very just super chill. I mean, because like at the Overland Expo, she's just like sitting there with everybody for like an hour, just talking and telling funny stories and everything, and it was great. And it's just like you have these people in these positions because we were talking about Travis too, how like he's like the one of the biggest action sports stars in the world,
Yeah.
but he will sit there and sign autographs forever if he could,
Yeah. Yeah.
because he's
So
so much into the fans.
yeah, yeah. So needless to say, she's like a big deal in the Subaru world,
Yeah, so
just in
I was
automotive.
sweating.
Yeah. She's actually technically my neighbor now. She lives in Idaho.
Yeah,
But yeah, I got to meet her at Overland Expo
that's
finally.
right.
I
Yeah.
mean, I've been in proximity to her previously at the Oregon Trail Rally when
Oh, yeah, yeah.
um, I think Travis took 24 off. He took 2024 off after Ken Block passed away.
Yeah.
Um, so they weren't there for that. But she did drive with, she co-drove with Leah, like you mentioned that year.
Yep.
Man, which that was actually really cool to see Leah rip in,
She did
dude.
great.
She was a kid, bro. Barely had her
Yeah.
driver's license.
Yeah, I think she was what, like 16 when she did that?
Freshly 16. If I remember right, a
Yeah.
lot of her training took place while she still just had her learner's permit.
Crazy.
Yeah, what an absolute family of animals, bro.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Well, what other equipment do you use?
Okay. So, yeah. So we kinda got on a tangent there, but
That's all right.
so I have my Rodecaster Pro that I'm still using now. I started off with an MV 88 tiny little microphone from Shure because they had like this video kit that you could buy that came with a little like tiny little tripod and then like a thing to hold your phone, and then a way to connect the microphone to your phone, and then you could download that Shure app and everything. So that's what I started with.
Humble beginnings.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and then I also had a Focusrite. I forgot what the
Like a
name.
2i2.
Yes, I had the
Yeah.
Focusrite 2i2. Started off with that also before I got the Rodecaster Pro, and then I upgraded to an Audio Technica microphone, and it's like the 2005 USB, and then it also has USB and then
XLR.
XLR, so
Is
that
that the one I currently have possession of?
it
Let's
is,
go, dude.
yeah. Then from there, I went to the Shure MV7X, I think, which is the kinda like the little brother to the big Shure or yeah, Shure microphone that, podcasters use. It's like the
the
really long one.
Like the SM70
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
whatever. I can't remember.
SM7B.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There you
Yeah.
go. That's what it is.
So the MV7X is kinda like the baby brother to that. So I got
Okay.
that one next. And then once I started doing more of a deep dive into audio or voiceover, they were saying, and so the MV88, that little one that I bought at first, that was a condenser microphone.
Okay.
Then the Audio Technica was a dynamic microphone. Then the MV7X was a dynamic microphone. And then I upgraded to the Rode NT1, which you see here, which is a condenser microphone again, because they say that with voiceover, it's better to have a condenser microphone because it brings more of your natural voice through the
Okay.
microphone, and there's not really like any filters into it. And then I have another device that I'm not using, but I want to currently get. Well, I want to set it up to use it full time, and I'm just going to keep the Rodecaster, off to the side. And if I need to, record over the phone, then I've got that capability. But the other one I'm gonna be using is it's called the SSL2 Plus MK2 or something like that, and I
Okay.
got it for, as, like, kind of a downgrade from the Rodecaster Pro, but the voiceover group that I'm in, they said it's a really good unit, so I ended up
Okay.
getting that one.
Okay. Heck yeah. Now I know that the Subie and You podcast isn't the only podcast you've ever done. You kind of already had your feet wet, what did all that look like? And I don't know if you're still doing that or not, but
No.
okay,
No, so the first podcast I did, it was called The Vegan Connector, and
sick.
I would go to, like, vegan, like, festivals and events and stuff,
Okay,
and, like, I'm super passionate about eating vegan food, especially, like, vendors that kinda put their heart and soul into making, like, comfort foods and stuff. And so I was thinking, like, you're at these events and you see these vendors, but you go up and you talk to them briefly as you're getting your food, and then you take off and leave. And I was thinking, like, what if I could get the story behind some of these brands?
yeah,
Like these people were most likely not vegan, at some point, and then they decided
yeah,
to go vegan, and then they decided, like, hey, I want to take this passion and create a little business. And so that's mainly what that was talking to brands and businesses like food vendors and stuff. And then I did have some like just people in the vegan community on the podcast, and I did 33 episodes. And my original intent was to do that episode every other week and then do the Subie and You podcast every other week. And when I started this one, I stopped that one because it wasn't really getting the attention and the traction that I was kind of hoping it would.
yeah,
And so and then just got into the Subaru community, and, this was, like, getting a lot more attention, and it felt more fulfilling too, because with the other one, it was kinda it just felt like I was mainly doing it for me at that point because
hmm,
people weren't seeking it out. The connections in the community weren't like they were here, so I just stopped doing it.
yeah. Can you talk a little bit about because I'm pretty big on trying to eat healthy and that type of thing. Can you share a little bit about kind of just your lifestyle and your diet and how long you've been doing all that?
Yeah, so it all started with my brother sending me a documentary or he sent me a trailer for a documentary called Food Choices. And he was like, "Oh, I'm thinking about eating this way." And so he sent me the trailer, watched the trailer, and at the time, the documentary was on Netflix, but you know how Netflix will only keep stuff on there for so long. I watched the documentary, which primarily talks about like how your food choices affect your health.
Absolutely.
And it didn't really go into like veganism much at all. It was mostly just talking about like just like I said, like just how your food choices affect your health. And that but it did talk about eating like plant-based foods primarily and like whole foods and everything.
Yeah.
And so after watching that, I'm like, okay, I guess I'm done with all animal products. And I had like some beef and chicken, I think, in the freezer or something. But then I also had like eggs and cheese in the refrigerator. So I'm like, okay, I'll just eat the eggs and I'll eat the cheese. And then after that, I just won't buy them anymore. And so my sister in law is Cambodian, and her parents came into town, and her mom loves to cook and she loves to entertain. And this was after I'd watched the documentary, but she made some duck and some other stuff. And not wanting to be like rude, I decided to eat some of the food that I wouldn't eat now. And then after that, we dropped my daughter off at school and up in Arkansas. And on the way back, we were looking for a place to eat. And there was a Subway like a mile behind us. And I texted my ex-wife and I was like, hey, let's go to this Subway because I was like, I can get veggie sub and I know I can eat that. And she was like, well, why don't we just go to Wendy's? You can get a salad. And I'm like, I want to go to Wendy's and I don't want a salad. So we go to Wendy's, and every single salad had some kind of meat on it, like bacon, chicken, something. And the only salads that didn't have anything was the tiny little small like side salads. And so we still had like a 7-hour drive to get back home or something like that. And I was like, I guess I need to eat some substance, so I'll get a chicken salad. And I kind of reluctantly ate it. And that was August 12th of 2018, and that was the last time I ate meat. So ever since then, I don't have like a staple diet of like, oh, I eat these things all the
Yeah.
time or I do this every day. I love oatmeal. Oatmeal is like super good. I eat cereals that are a little on the healthier. Like I eat kashi cereal. I love that.
Okay.
I make smoothies. I just get frozen berries and I get vegan protein powder and I get plant-based milk and just mix all that together. I eat tofu. I've seasoned it and everything and,
I love
make
tofu.
do tofu is it's so versatile,
It's
and
it's the jam.
yeah, you can do a lot of stuff with it. So I eat tofu, I eat tempeh. I don't, and it's funny because like there's always this kind of thought or misconception that because I'm vegan, I eat super healthy. I don't eat very many vegetables at all. Not that I don't like them. I think for me, like I always wash my vegetables, I wash my fruit, and it's time consuming. And so I just don't
Yeah.
want to put in the time to
Yeah.
do it. And so I honestly, I don't really eat that many vegetables. And, I've been eating more fruit. I've been, like, trying to eat more bananas. I love bananas. I love golden kiwi. If you like kiwi and you've eaten the traditional, like, green kiwi, golden kiwi is insane. It is
Really?
so good. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I've never had one.
So good. Yeah, you gotta find some golden kiwi.
Okay.
I eat a lot of like, when I eat cereal or, like, especially when I make a smoothie, I almost never just drink a smoothie, I always make it into a bowl. So I pour it out into a bowl, I'll top it with hemp seeds, chia seeds, pumpkin seeds, almond butter, maybe throw on some little, um like chocolate chips on it, like dark chocolate chips. Smoothie bowls are my jam, dude. I love smoothie bowls. There's been times when I've eaten like a smoothie bowl every single day of the week sometimes because they're
I've
just
never done that.
oh,
I've
dude,
never
it's
done that
my
before.
daughter introduced me to smoothie bowls because I was always drinking them, and she was like, "What do you?" She showed me something. I was like, what is that?" She's like, "It's a smoothie bowl."
That's sick.
I'm like, "A
Okay.
smoothie bowl? What's that?" She's like, "You just pour it into a bowl and then top it with stuff." And I'm
Okay.
like, ever since then, like, I just I'll, like, maybe go somewhere. Like, I went to Smoothie King for the first time in years, and I got a smoothie from there, and, of course, I drank it, but 0.5% of the time when I'm at home, I'll drink a smoothie. Other than that, I'm making a smoothie bowl.
Heck yeah.
It's so good. But, yeah, I
I'm
mean,
gonna have to
that's
try that.
kind of, what I eat. I mean, again, I don't eat a ton of vegetables and not because I don't like them, but I mean, I'll eat pasta. I do eat some like vegan meats and stuff. Like Beyond Meat makes this. It's in a bag and it's called beef tips, like vegan beef tips. Oh, it's
Okay.
so good.
Now I got to ask this question. I could ask you pancakes or waffles, but I mean, we already know what time it is.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. What's your go-to pancake mix?
Birch benders.
Okay, what the heck is that?
Yeah. So it's this brand and they have one that's like it's not necessarily like plant-based. It just doesn't have any, eggs or milk or anything in the ingredients. And I don't know, just the consistency of it, the way that it cooks up, it's just like it's really good. I've tried some that are like a different brand. I don't know. It's the one that I have found is the best. However, my daughter has made her own like homemade pancake
From
mix,
scratch. Let's
which
let's go.
I've done that before at times, like with I think I used oatmeal, but I turned into like more of like a flour where I just put it in a food processor
Okay.
and ground it up. So like oatmeal flour and then banana and some other ingredients. I did that a long time ago. I need to get her recipe because she says they turn out really good. And but yeah, Birch Benders is the brand that I use most of the
Okay.
time now.
Now how so I'm not gonna lie, dude. So I'm equal opportunity when it comes to waffles or pancakes, but when I do pancakes, I love like maybe you could just call it rare. I
Yeah.
love it when they're a little bit
Mushy
yeah, a little
ish.
saucy in the middle.
Yeah.
What's so how do you your perfect pancake, how are you making it? You doing cast iron? Is there like a certain do you use I'm guessing you probably don't use butter obviously, but how do you make them?
So I have this big skillet that is what is it coated with? It's like I can't remember what it is,
Is it like
but
a Teflon or
oh,
something?
ceramic. It's a
Oh,
ceramic
gotcha.
pan.
Okay,
Yeah.
Gordon Ramsay over here, bro.
So it's a ceramic pan and it's pretty big. and then 'cause it seems to be able to cook the best. But anyway, and then my daughter introduced me to this algae oil and that I get at Sprouts. And so I've been using that. I put a little bit of algae oil in there and then put the pancake mix in, fry it up on one side, flip it, and I get mine cooked all the way through. I don't know how they do it, but the place that I've talked about on the podcast that I like getting pancakes from is called Spiral Diner in Fort
Yes.
Worth.
Yeah.
Their pancakes, when they cook them, have this nice crispy edge to them.
Yes, dude.
I
Yes.
don't know how they do that, but like, that's what makes them from that place, and that is why I'm a pancake person, because of those pancakes. But, I mean, I like, making my own pancakes at home, and don't get me wrong, I do like waffles. Waffles have their place for several different reasons, but
In a pinch.
I'm all about pancakes, man. They're so good.
Oh, dude, you're right. I always do like high heat to get that edge that you're talking about, a little bit of crisp on the edges and on
I
the
guess I need to just pour a little bit of oil around the edge as it's cooking or something, I don't know.
just start deep frying our pancakes.
Yeah, I've seen people do some crazy stuff with the batter.
Obviously we both get down with like Subarus and pancakes. But aside from all that, like what other kind of there's more to us than just our
Oh,
car
yeah.
addictions. What kind of stuff do you do when you're not blowing up viscous couplings and that type of thing?
I mean, I like just, driving around if I'm not, trying to go through mud. I just like driving. But me and my son, like, we like going into downtown and just walking around and looking at the buildings. So people have asked me, like, well, what do you do when you're down there? We don't really do anything. We just walk. We've been to downtown so many times. There's just something about being down there with all the big buildings, looking up at the buildings and like maybe seeing if they've, building any new ones. But I don't know. That just I don't really know how to explain that. But then like we like to just go other places in the Houston area and just go walking around, There's like a coffee shop. There's an area in Houston called the Heights. And it's like west of downtown. Interstate 10 cuts right through the middle of Houston.
Okay.
And so the Heights area is kind of more on the north side of I-10. But we'll go to the Heights area and just walk around, drive around. There's shops and stuff down there. So we like to do that. But one of the things that he got me into recently is pickleball.
Okay.
And
Heck
dude,
yeah.
and we haven't played in a few weeks because I was gone to Overland Expo, and then we went to Subie Fest, Texas, and then I went to go stay with my girlfriend in the Airbnb last week, and so we just haven't had a chance to play. And my buddy Brian let me borrow this really nice paddle, and then I ended up buying that one and a second one from him for like really cheap, but they're like $120 paddles.
Oh
And,
fudge.
yeah, because he's like, "I would get a paddle," and like, "Oh, this is it." And then I would upgrade to another paddle. So he's got like, some better paddles that he uses. Because my son bought some from Target for like, it was like 2 paddles and 4 balls for like 35 bucks. But the paddle does make a difference.
Yeah.
And the ones that he bought, like the handles kind of coming loose from the paddle, and
Okay.
these other ones that I bought are like legit. So, pickleball, man, I could play that, like, every day if I had an opportunity to go do it, but it's kinda hard here because we have to play at these courts that are outside,
Yeah.
and it's in a neighborhood that you're supposed to have a key card to get into the court, but what's funny is there's a box inside that you push the button so that you can get out, and so what we do is his arm is thin enough to reach between the door and the fence that's next to it, and he reaches in and he sticks the paddle in that in that box to push the button, and then we open the door. So we're not really technically supposed to be in the courts. So if somebody's in there, then we don't go play.
Yeah.
There's indoor places, but you have to have a membership or you just pay to go play for like an hour and it's like 40 bucks.
Okay.
And we've never done it indoors, but yeah, pickleball. And then we haven't done it in a long time, but every once in a while we'll go ride our longboards.
Oh,
And
heck yeah.
yeah. And then we both have a one wheel, but his has been kind of messed up because it'll like his has this thing where the motor shuts off and it'll just do a nosedive and then you fall off. And if
Oh,
you're
yeah.
going too fast, that could be dangerous.
Yeah.
So we haven't ridden those in a while. Uh, but yeah, other than that, I like to go for runs and work out occasionally. I haven't been doing that enough.
What's kind of your workout routine look like when that's something
When
that
I'm
you're doing?
actually doing it.
Yeah.
So if I were to if I were to do it the way that I was doing it before, is I would get up at like 6:30 or 7 every morning, work out at home for about 45 minutes, just, doing push-ups or something, and then I have a barbell, so I'd be doing like lat work, like one day, and then I have dumbbells and kettlebells, so I do shoulder work, do biceps, stuff like that, so just switch out routines each day,
Heck yeah.
and then go for a run in the evening. That would be my ideal day. So let's just throw out my whole ideal day.
All right,
I'm
let's go.
doing the podcast part-time, I'm doing voiceover, both of them together, or, maybe most of my income's coming from voiceover because, I can do that kind of thing when I want to. Podcasts is, if I'm doing voiceover and I've got more time to do podcasts, I can dedicate more time to it. But my ideal day would be get up, work out, do podcast stuff, voiceover stuff during the day, and then the evening go for a run. That would be my ideal day.
Once
Or
it
get up
cools
and go for a
off.
run in the morning
Yeah.
and work
Yeah.
out at night.
Yeah. Dude, I don't know how hot you guys get in the Houston area, but man, it's a different
High
test of
90s.
oh, bro, no, thank you.
And actually, well, now that you said that, so yesterday morning I went for a run because I went for a run Monday morning and it was pretty easy. And then excuse me. And then Tuesday morning, I went for a run and it was super humid. Running in the humidity and the thick air is way different than running when it's not as humid. I've
100%.
discovered that lately that if it's really humid, I'm not doing so well. It's harder to run.
Yeah, we get into triple digits here during the summer, but it's dry. It's like dry heat. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna go out and build a house in the heat, but I I can make stuff happen in the heat out here. But when I go like I was in Alabama a couple years ago, the heat they
Hmm.
get out there completely different. It can be 10 degrees cooler, but that humidity level,
Oh
man, it
yeah.
just translates completely different.
Oh dude, whenever I went for a run yesterday morning, it was probably because I finished up and it was about 10 o'clock. And it said 84% humidity. And the humidity was going down as the time went on. But I got started around 9 o'clock. So I'm guessing it was probably closer to 90% humidity. I mean, there's been times when it's very, very rare, but it'll be like 100 degrees with 100% humidity. And dude, it's nasty. I
Oh,
mean, you walk outside and you instantly start sweating. It's like, it's so gross.
yeah,
I
you can
mean, you'll
count
be in
me
the
out.
shade and you're sweating. Dude, it's horrible.
Yeah, no, thank you, man. I'll pass on that all day. Or if I got to work on a car, in heat like that, no, man, I'm looks like I'm Chevroleting it to whatever I got to do. Because yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Oh man, dude, I've been talking your ear off for 2 hours and 10 minutes.
It's been great though.
Oh, absolutely. Is there anything that we're missing that I should be asking you?
I don't know, but I was just thinking I could ask you a question.
Oh, let's go.
How is my episode different, or how does it differ from your other episodes, being that you tend to get into more technical things with the other guests?
Well, one of my favorite things to do is just talk to people and like talk to people the way I'd have a conversation just in any environment. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, um, and the fact that we've got, you know, podcasting stuff in general, in common,
Mm-hmm.
just being able to pick your brain about, I guess, life stuff in general is a lot of fun.
Yeah. No good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my jam. And
That's a
there's a
good
lot of
jam.
yeah, and there's a lot of times where I'll interview people that are they just drive the cars, and they don't have technical knowledge of the cars at all.
Yeah.
Um, it's just fun either way, just to get to like
Just talking to people is great.
exactly, like, just I always call it making a friend in real time, because some of the
Yeah.
people that I've interviewed literally never talked to them, don't know anything about them, and then I just hit record and then I just start asking them questions.
Yeah. No, it's fun to get connected with people. The hardest part is keeping connected with all of your guests because
Dude,
I I've had,
same.
because like I would say that I mean I'm getting up to episode 214. That's what I'm working on. But I would say that like maybe 100 and like 80 something of my episodes are all individual guests, meaning like they've
Okay,
only been on one time
okay.
because out of the 214 episodes, I've had people on multiple times. Like I had Jen on from Eccentric Designs.
Mhm.
Then I did a bonus episode for her first year. And then I think
Okay.
maybe a second year anniversary. Patrick from Orbis Overlanding, same thing. We just did a regular episode. Then we ended up doing a bonus episode to do like an anniversary one. I've had Rhiannon on 3 times. I've
Yeah.
had Sierra, who goes by SLT Trek.
Oh,
I've had
yeah.
her on twice. I've had Carrie on, goes by Mountain Subie. I've had her on twice. And then I know I've had somebody else on a couple of times because I wanted to get guests coming back on the podcast.
Yeah.
So I would say probably about 180 people are ones that I've had on the podcast as like an individual episode. And then there's some people that like just aren't on Instagram anymore. They don't have a Subaru anymore. But it's just I mean, you get connected with so many people over the years, and it's hard to keep up with everybody.
I find the same thing even just in life before I started doing, like, the Subaru thing and creating content, you just meet people, and then you kinda feel like a bad friend because 'cause you're like, "Oh, man, I haven't talked to this person in forever." Or
Yeah.
sometimes I'll look at my phone and see just, like, 80 new notifications. I'm like, "Oh, I can't even think about it, dude." It's like
Yeah.
it gets overwhelming, but I
Yeah,
love it.
I've had people that'll message me and, like, this is where I feel really bad, but I'll have somebody
Yeah.
message me, and I'm like, "Oh, who is this?" And then I'll start scrolling, and I'm like, "Oh my god, like, 6 months ago, we had, like, a whole long conversation about all this stuff." But then, obviously, they weren't messaging me, I wasn't messaging them because everybody has their own thing going on, and I think a lot of people have their kind of little group of, friends in real life and then online friends where it's like, these are the people that like I talk to kind of on a consistent basis. And then there's a few people outside of that that I keep in touch with, somewhat regularly, but not all the time. And then beyond that, there's like people that you connect with like every so often. And
Yeah.
so I just think for all of us, it's really, really hard to I mean, if you were trying to keep up with everybody and keep in touch with everybody, you would just be doing that all day long,
Oh,
and
yeah.
we've got other stuff to do. Everybody
Yeah.
has other stuff to do. I'm not just talking about you and me, but, especially when you have all these guests on, because I have guests that I've had on, like, a long time ago that I just,
Yeah.
like, I haven't heard from, I haven't messaged them, and, so it's like, it gets difficult to, like, think about constantly keeping in contact with people, and,
Yeah.
but, I mean you'll go and message that person or they'll message you and maybe you haven't talked in a year and it's just like, nobody's like, "Oh, I haven't heard from you in a while. What's going
Yeah.
on?" It's just you just pick right back up. But I mean, friends in real life are like that too.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think social media has made it so much different, because it used to be back in the day, like, you had to pick up the phone and talk to that person live. Now
Yeah.
it's easy to, like, make connections but
But
also
it's
to accidentally neglect those connections.
but I mean, it's great because through social media, you get connected with so many people that you wouldn't have otherwise because if
Yeah.
you I mean, before we had social media and email and Facebook and all this kind of stuff, we wouldn't be talking to people on the other side of the country. because we wouldn't
Yeah,
have known they existed.
exactly.
And so, I mean, it's so cool. And then you get to talk to people on the other side of the world, which is like,
Yeah,
it's amazing. You can, you don't have to like, through like Instagram messaging and stuff, you can actually have a conversation, like a phone conversation or a video conversation, and you don't have to pay like long distance charges like you used to have to back in the day when you were calling somebody out of state.
yeah. Yeah, some of our listeners are gonna have no idea about how it was back in the dinosaurs when we had to, like, pay money to talk to people that didn't live in our state.
Yeah. And do you remember the days of not even having to dial a zip code? I mean, an area
Oh,
code?
yeah. Yeah,
Because
in the city that I grew up in, yeah, you didn't have to punch in a zip code, just 7 digits, that was it.
yeah, because like I remember in Houston, like the main area code for Houston was 713. But back when we would call people, you didn't have to dial that. You would just dial their 7 digits,
Yeah,
and then the second area code they came up with was 832, and then now there's, like, even a third or a fourth or something like that. But,
man,
yeah,
the world's
times have
changed a
changed.
lot.
It's too many people, man.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, sometimes I feel that way, I'm just like, "Oh, dude, don't move here, please."
Yeah,
Gets a little crazy. We've seen a lot of the same changes, like I said, you got a few years on me, but we've we've lived through a pretty wild time in history.
yeah, yeah. I mean, but, still, I think these things are pretty amazing because
Yeah,
you can do I think the biggest thing for me with cell phones is not, you know, the thing that I like the most about it is not really keeping in touch with people because you can use a computer. If you're like, oh, I don't really want to be on my phone, I'll just chat with people through the computer.
yeah,
But for me, Spotify, man, having thousands and thousands of songs at your disposal,
yeah,
whereas before you had, I mean, because when I grew, when I first,
yeah,
we had tapes, and then you
yeah,
had to like, it only had a certain number of songs. Then you had to take it out,
flip
turn it
it.
over, and then there was records. If you're at home, you could play a record album,
Yeah,
and then, oh my gosh, these CD things came out, which was super cool. Now you don't have to turn it over. It's better quality. You don't have to worry about the tape messing up. But man, it can get scratches.
yeah,
And then you go from that to MP3 CDs, because I had an
mhm,
MP3 CD player in my 97 Ford Ranger. And I remember putting like 150 songs on a CD, and I was like, this is amazing because I've got so many songs on one CD. Whereas before, you might have a song that only had like 10 or 12 songs. Now I've got 150 songs,
yeah,
and I've got 10 MP3 CDs with close to 150 songs each on there. So now I've got all this music, and then now I don't even have to put in a CD or anything.
dude, and you don't even have to own a lot of it. It's like,
Yeah.
you just stream it, you just pay to stream it, and you're good, like, I
Yeah.
dude, I remember 8 tracks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Me too. Our car had one.
No kidding.
The very first car I remember my parents having had an 8-track in it.
Dude, that's sick.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're
old
definitely
school.
yeah, I mean, and I was so poor growing up that I we didn't have anything new, so it was like if we had anything, it was from, 20 years ago, and so it was like CDs were the thing when I was a little kid, but you better believe I was listening to music on a little cassette player.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess that's a bright spot of growing up poor.
yeah. I mean, there is something to be said, though, about, like, the technology and missing actually tangible, uh,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
tangible processes, I
Yeah.
guess you can call it. Put a tape in there, push play, push rewind, I mean, there's definitely convenience now of having all of your music in one place, but I don't people that are growing up that don't I mean, we would record songs off the radio
Yeah,
with our
bro.
tape player. It's like dude, I'm just gonna sit here and listen to the radio and, "Oh my gosh, the song came up.
Ah!
Push record quick."
I've
You
done
know?
that.
Dude, you've got, mixtapes that you put together from taking one tape and recording it onto another and recording stuff off the radio. You can't do that anymore, you can put together playlists on Spotify, which is pretty cool, but
Yeah.
there's something missing there.
Man, it's I rarely most of the people that I'm around, because I got a baby face, I look like a child. So most of the people that I know are younger than me. They have no idea what a cassette is, man. Most of them never even used a CD before. It's refreshing to talk to somebody that had the same experiences that
Yeah.
I did.
Well, I one thing I can definitely say about both of my kids is they both love and appreciate old technology, especially my son. Like he goes to Goodwill and we go to antique stores, and he's always looking at all the old like shelf top radios and stereos and stuff. And he loves that stuff, man. He's so crazy about it.
Dude,
And I
that's
love that
sick.
he has an appreciation for it and that he loves that, that he's not just
Yeah.
growing up in this age and all about what's going on in this age. Like
Yeah.
I think he would prefer to have been like growing up in the 80s, like seriously. Same with my
Yeah.
daughter too. I mean, I introduced them to all the old 80s music and they love it.
Yeah, I've taken that same I've been on kind of a similar kick with like retro video game stuff. Like, oh dude, I'm just gonna go buy all the stuff I couldn't buy as a kid.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fun.
Oh, dude, it's I got a whole shelf over here that's all full of like OG like 80s Nintendo stuff and 90s Nintendo stuff. Like
Shout
that
out to your little Game Boys
oh
too that you're making, dude. Those are
bro,
so cool.
that's been so much fun. I now I actually know how fast I'm going when I'm driving the Jeep.
Yeah. Oops.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that car overestimates my speed on the dash. It says I'm doing like 8 miles an hour faster than what I'm doing. So
Oh,
I have
okay.
people tailgating me like, "Get out of the way, idiot."
Oh,
Well,
I
gosh dang
gotta
it.
go faster.
Yeah. So how can people get a hold of you, like on social media? Where can people find you on there?
So I am at Subie and You podcast. It's subie.and.u.podcast or on Instagram. And then also I have a page for my car, which is Pearl the Crosstrek, which is basically the same thing, pearl.the.crosstrek. I think it's
Heck
dots.
yeah.
And
Yeah, well,
then
they can search.
yeah, and then subieandyoupodcast.com,
Okay.
and then subieandyoupodcast@gmail.com.
Heck yeah.
And I
And
have a Facebook page, but I don't know how to use it really, so the stuff gets posted
yeah,
there when I post to Instagram, but I have people that'll message me through Facebook, and I won't see it for, like, 3 weeks.
yeah.
I'm not even joking.
Yeah. Are you so you're on pretty much all the platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, I don't even know what else there is now,
Yeah,
but
there's a bunch of other ones, and I'm on pretty much all of them. I think the only one I'm not on is, like, Amazon or something.
okay.
'Cause I could never figure out how to get like, they kept saying to, like, verify through an email, and I would
Okay.
do that, and for some reason, it never ended up working, but I think that might be, like, the only platform that I'm not on. But, I
Okay.
mean, most of the popular ones are Apple Podcasts and Spotify. That's where most of my listens come through.
Yeah. Same here. That's what I see the most of. There's some other
Yeah.
random ones. I'm trying to think. Podchaser is one that I see people
Yeah.
use and
Yep.
things like that. Do you have any discount codes, affiliate deals, anything like that that can get you paid?
So the one definitely with, Subaru gear. So go check out subarugear.com. They're constantly adding new items. There's so much stuff on there. There's more stuff than there used to be, I think.
Okay.
Plus, you've got, the Bucky Lassick collection, you've got the motorsports collection, you've got, so many great things. You've got stuff for your pets, stuff for yourself, stuff for your kids, stuff for your car, stuff for your home.
Okay.
And the discount code is Subie and you 25,
Okay.
and that gets you 20% off your entire purchase.
Heck yeah.
Plus If your total is over $50 after the 20% discount, then you automatically get free shipping, which is huge.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And their stuff's good, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's like really good. It's not just some garbage that, they printed a graphic on. It's like good stuff.
Yeah, and I've had people that have bought stuff through the gear store, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, like, I got this whatever, and I love it. It, like, such great good quality and everything." So it's
Yeah.
like, I love getting the feedback from people.
Yeah.
And, so the other affiliate that I have is Ryko Wheels. So, you can if you buy a set of Ryko wheels, you can use the code SUBIEU10 at checkout, and that gets you 10% off a set of wheels. And people are still using the code because
Dude, that's a good deal.
I had them on I had them as a sponsor actively for a long time, and then when I dropped down to doing it every other week, I dropped them because I was thinking about only doing it once a month at that point, but
Okay.
so, but I'm hoping to get them back as an actual sponsor again at some point, but yeah, that's, people are using that code too, so I'm thankful for that.
Heck yeah. And you do get like a little bit of a commission on that, right?
Yeah, so
Perfect.
they like, every quarter, I believe they'll send me, a little small check for,
Yeah.
sales, but
Yeah. Well, I'm all for people getting paid, man. So if anybody's in the market for wheels, you gotta support the homies.
dude, and the Tetons are
It's a
man,
good
I
looking
love my
wheel,
wheels.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're affordable,
Yeah, and they've got other good styles too that they've come out with, so, I know that the 15-inch people are kinda going away from that and
Okay.
being more in the 16 or 17-inch wheels, but yeah, man, it's good stuff.
Right on, dude. Well, thanks for doing this, man. This was
Yeah, of
this was
course.
sick. I probably forgot some things I was gonna ask you, but we did 2.5 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Heck yeah.
it's always great having a conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.